You little service disciple. You think you're qualified to kill me. You little service disciple. You think you're qualified to kill me? Kill them if you dare. Kill. Kid, even if you kill me, you will die. Not only you, but your family of 9 will also die. Ha ha ha. That junior brother was very arrogant, and at this time, he didn't feel any fear at all. Although he was being suppressed by Long Fei, he was clear that Long Fei did not dare to touch him again. He was an official disciple. Furthermore, Lu Ba had already brought people here and was just a few dozen meters away. No matter how gutsy Long Fei was, he would not dare to touch him. Of course, he completely didn't understand Long Fei, so if he had, he definitely wouldn't have said such a thing. You dare not kill you, right? After you went down to the underworld and met Yama, you told him that you were killed by someone called Long Fei. The cause of death was not posturing. Long Fei's voice fell. In his heart, he shouted, "Golden dragon leg." He raised his right foot and stomped heavily on the disciple's head, directly pushing the disciple's head into the ground. Bam! Blood gushed out crazily. Sun Dada's face turned white, and his entire body became cold. He shouted out loud while looking at Long Fei, "Don't." Fan Tong and the others also shouted, "No." Lu Ba glared fiercely and shouted, "You dog, you're dead today." His heart turned cold. This was because Long Fei was a service disciple, and if Long Fei killed someone, even if he did not manage everything properly, he would still be implicated. Not just him. All of logistics department's disciples would be affected. Lu Ba rushed forward like crazy. At this moment, the senior brother stood up after shaking his head for a moment, and then woke up after a short period of unconsciousness. Looking at the nearby Long Fei, and then at the little brother at Long Fei's feet, his eyes trembled slightly as he glared at Long Fei and said, "You dog, you actually killed someone in God Emperor Academy." Not waiting for him to finish. Shua! Long Fei's figure moved and instantly appeared in front of that senior brother. He grabbed him by the throat and stared at him with ice-cold eyes. The look in his eyes was too terrifying. It was even more terrifying than death itself. The hairs on the senior brother's heart stood. The cultivation of the arrogant immortal state was completely unable to withstand the killing intent coming from Long Fei's body. Killing thought. The killing intent released by Long Fei was much stronger than the killing intent released by an ordinary person. It was as if the aura of death within the infernal realm had seeped into his heart. Terrifying. Terrifying. The senior brother said, I am not outstanding." His legs were already weak and unable to look Long Fei in the eye. Plop. He knelt on the ground and begged for mercy. "Brother, I was wrong, I won't dare to do it again. I am a dog, I am trash. I beg you to spare my life, spare my dog life. I was wrong. I will never dare to tease them again." Lu Ba rushed to Long Fei's side. At this moment, the 4 official disciples also ran over. Lu Ba immediately kicked Xiang Long Fei. "Are you King tired of living?" This kick was extremely vicious. They carried strength stripes S on their feet, obviously using a lot of strength. "This is the first time I have endured it." The second time, Long Fei's expression turned sinister. He clenched his right fist tightly and roared in his heart, "Power of the Golden Dragon," directly punching Lu Ba's foot with his right fist. Bam! His entire arm was going numb. It had to be said that the strength of Lu Ba's leg was very strong, which also meant that he wanted Long Fei to become disabled with this kick. Lu Ba was in great pain. He retreated a few steps and was secretly shocked in his heart. I never thought that the brat's cultivation would be spiritual level, but his strength has actually reached arrogant immortal state. Humph! Even if he is the arrogant immortal state, he had better die for me. If today's matter is not handled well, I will also be implicated. Lu Ba's gaze darkened as he stared at Long Fei and said, "Kid, you have to pay with your life. Either you kneel down and get sent to law enforcement agency, or you die here today." The corner of Long Fei's mouth drew back and lightly said, "You come." His arrogant attitude did not decrease in the slightest. Endure the first time, definitely will not tolerate you the second time. If you don't like it, then do it. Sun Datu, all of you come together and take him down for me. You guys are also responsible for what happened today. So if you don't act now, you will also be punished, and you should know very well that you have killed an official disciple. Lu Ba squinted and sneered in his heart. So what if you have some power? Just these service disciples will consume a lot of your physical strength and power of Celestial. Let's see how you continue to hold on. The expressions of Sun Datu and the service disciples changed slightly. They all looked at Xiang Longfei. Longfei also looked at them. He didn't have any expression on his face, but as long as the Sun Datu made a move on him, then his brotherly relationship would be gone. Since they weren't brothers, there was only one word to describe them: kill. Sun Datu looked at Long Fei and clenched his fists. No one made the first move. The great army urged them, "Leader Sun, if we do not make a move, we will be implicated. We cannot bear the responsibility of killing an official disciple." Sun Datu's body suddenly turned, looked at Lu Ba, and said, "Manager Lu, Long Fei did indeed kill the person, but he was forced to do so. He's standing up for us. They insulted us first. It was Long Fei who took action when he could not bear to watch any longer. Please be merciful and spare Long Fei." If it wasn't for Long Fei making a move, then the one laying on the ground would definitely be him. 10 moves. If he couldn't withstand 10 moves, even if he didn't die, he would become crippled. I am grateful to Long Fei in the heart of the Sun Datu. Fan Tong also walked forward and said, "They really bully us first, and we are forced to the point where we have no other choice. Manager Lu, you must uphold justice for us." At this moment, a few service disciples walked up to him and said, "Manager Lu, we were really forced into a corner. Things like today have happened countless times, and they're insulting our self-esteem." Lu Ba glared. "Reject. All of you are rebelling." Lu Ba never thought that it would be such a result. All of the service disciples were actually speaking up for Long Fei, not sparing their lives to protect Long Fei. How many days had Long Fei been here? If this continued, wouldn't Long Fei be overturning the heavens? No way. This kid must die. Lu Ba immediately made a decision in his heart. He had to kill Long Fei in order to preserve his current position. "Then let's see how capable you are." Lu Ba's voice shook, and she shouted, "Someone come." The 4 disciples stepped forward and said, "Yes." Lu Ba said, "Capture them. If anyone dares to resist, kill them." At this moment, at the entrance of the Martial Repository Pavilion compound, a black shadow flashed down and shouted, "Let me see who dares to touch him." The 4th chapter, today, is just 4 chapters. There is a total of 4 chapters in today's book that everyone owes a chapter and a book. My daughter should be able to leave the hospital the day after tomorrow. 8_8419/23579090. Suddenly, a sound was heard. Everyone looked behind them. Long Fei's eyes were filled with unfamiliarity. He did not recognize the middle-aged man at the entrance. Just because he didn't know them didn't mean that Lu Ba and the others didn't know them. Not only did Lu Ba recognize her, she was an existence that he couldn't even touch when he looked up. His face immediately changed into a flattering smile, as if he had seen his father. He trotted over and asked, "Dean 19th, why are you here?" 19th Dean. What was 19? Law enforcement agency was the 19th courtyard, and the principal's name was also 19. He was known as the 19th Dean. He looked to be in his 30s or 40s, like an old scholar. He did not have the aura of a military man, and his entire body was emitting a scholarly aura. However, the feeling it gave Long Fei was actually feminine, an indescribable femininity. 19 looked coldly at Lu Ba and said, "This is none of your business." Lu Ba was startled. He hesitated for half a second and said, 19th Principal, this brat killed an official disciple and seriously injured an official disciple. I was just about to go to law enforcement agency to report this matter." "Pa!" Yi Zichen slapped him. Lu Ba was flipped over on the spot, his 5 fingers clearly visible on the palm print. Lu Ba was stunned on the spot. He crawled up from the ground. Not daring to show the slightest anger, he immediately knelt. A sudden slap to the face completely overturned the scholarly appearance of 19. 19 stared at Lu Ba and said, "Scram." Lu Ba almost peed his pants in fright. He immediately crawled and rolled, and the 4 official disciples he brought along did the same, escaping frantically like they hated this old lady for not having 2 legs. Long Fei was shocked. Sun Datu, Fan Tong, and the other service disciples were also stunned. Too fast, their brains could not react in time. 19 did not walk to Long Fei's side. Instead, he stood in place and looked at Long Fei, saying, "When Principal Tsang left, he told me to take care of you. Long Fei, I can only help you once. After this, if you make any more mistakes, I will deal with them harshly." Zhang Tianya's disciple? Long Fei looked at 19 and said faintly, "Thank you, Principal." 19 looked at Long Fei and said, "Your current status is too low. If you want to obtain recognition in God Emperor Academy, then you must become stronger, and you must obtain the status of an official disciple. Otherwise, something like today would have happened." His identity was very important. His status in the God Emperor Academy was even more important. Had not experienced this before, but today he had experienced it. Long Fei said, "How can I become a service disciple? I asked the headmaster to guide me." 19 said, "Servant disciples have low aptitudes, and 18 matrial halls will not accept them. There's only one way to change this, which is to exchange points for qualifications. If you can collect 1,000 points within half a month, then you can exchange for the spot of an official disciple. However, whether or not College of Martial Arts training will accept you as an official disciple will depend on you. Take care." 19 turned and walked into the woods. After he left, Sun Datu and the others immediately surrounded Long Fei and looked at him with a face full of shock. "Wow, aren't you being too awesome? That's not right. How could you become a service disciple if you know the first dean of the Hidden Dragon Institute? Did you see Lu Pai's expression just now? Ha ha ha. I've never seen him this scared. It's so refreshing. I heard that great President Zhang has been removed from his post. He seems to have left the God Emperor Academy to travel the 4 seas. D19 is too sharp. They did not know about this year's exam, nor did they know about the relationship between Long Fei and Zhang Tianai. Long Fei also did not know that Zhang Tianai had left the God Emperor Academy. Long Fei looked at Sun Datu and asked, "Leader Sun, how do I obtain God Emperor Academy's points?" He did not explain anything. If he wanted to change his identity, he could only do so to become stronger. Now, he needed his identity, the identity of an official disciple. This way, he could leave the God Emperor Academy to complete missions and level up. Sun Datu was startled and said, "Xiao Fei, 1,000 points is not a small number. Even the disciples that had been in the academy for more than a year could not get this many points. It is too difficult." The exchange of points for an official disciple was something that had happened many times in the God Emperor Academy, but the success rate was 0. No one had succeeded. It was too difficult. Long Fei said, "No matter how difficult it is, if you don't do it, you will never succeed. You have to at least give it a try." Sun Datu looked at Long Fei and explained, "God Emperor Academy's points are just like currency. God Emperor Academy's transactions are basically done with points. And here the points are even more precious than the fairy stones. Obtaining points in the God Emperor Academy is divided into 2 types: mission. After completing the mission, you will be able to obtain corresponding points. This kind of points is not the school's reward, but the points paid by the person who completed the mission. The other type of quest is a task assigned by the Academy. This kind of quest will have a lot of points, and the difficulty will also be above 5-star difficulty. It's basically impossible for a single person to complete the quest, and you'll need a team. However, you can't even do this kind of mission because we are just service disciples. Unless we get special permission, we are not allowed to leave the God Emperor Academy. There's another way: martial arts." Long Fei was startled. He understood the points required to complete the mission, what is called a martial arts battle. The great army interrupted and said, "Let's not dream of fighting anymore. No one can earn 1,000 points in the competition." Fan Tong also said in a low voice, The army is right. It's impossible for them to win against those advanced disciples. Leader's son, let's not talk about the battle. Probably died up there. Everyone's expression became downcast. Martial arts were the cruelest method. Sun Datu looked at the blazing passion in Long Fei's eyes and said, "This so-called martial competition is a challenge to a disciple with a higher cultivation level than you, and also." The space between Sun Data's eyebrows tightened, and he said, "Moreover, the further you go, the harder it is, and the more points you get, and more experts will come out." Basically, not a single person succeeded. Points were accumulated. The more you win, the more points you will have, and the higher your rank in God Emperor Academy. Once you lose, all the points you have will be taken away. It was just like a gamble. A single win or loss would mean nothing. It may be simple in the beginning, but the more points you have, the more people will covet your points. It's hard, Long Fei muttered. So it's like that, the Sun Datu said. Not only is it the students of the God Emperor Academy, if your points are accumulated to 800, there might even be an elder who would be willing to accept the challenge. Other than some advanced disciples, who else could be stronger than the elders? Long Fei became even more excited. Even an elder can participate? Interesting, very interesting. Chapter 18_8419/2357091. It was impossible to earn points for missions. There were only martial arts battles. Martial arts duels were a challenge to the entire God Emperor Academy, and any kind of rancor would appear. However, Sun Data's explanation was not clear. Long Fei was a new disciple and also a service disciple. According to the rules of the tournament, only the first-year disciples and the new students could participate, and the older-year disciples were not allowed to. This was the rule. The reason the Sun Data didn't clarify was because he wanted Long Fei to retreat in the face of difficulties. Because obtaining 1,000 points in the competition was basically impossible. Long Fei was indeed strong, and was able to crush a second-stage berserker immortal disciple. However, these guardian disciples were only disciples who were slightly better off than them, and were not the real main force. Fighting arena was filled with fanatics. All of them were elites. Returning to his residence, Lu Ba did not appear again. Long Fei laid on his bed as he thought about what to do next. Martial arts competition is my only path right now. I have to change my identity, otherwise I'll be trapped to death here. Thinking about the matters of the dragon domain, along with the dragon's universe diagram that kept appearing in his mind, what kind of secrets could not be seen by others in the heavenly hall of immortals after the disappearance of the Long family's experts? Thinking of this, Long Fei couldn't help but ask. It's been more than 4 years. I have more than 5 years to find the Dragon Clan. I have to find the Dragon Region and find the Dragon Clan. I want to find out what the secret is. Long Fei clenched his fists tightly. And then, he got up and walked into the forest at the back of the mountain. The idea moved God's Devil Space. Enchanted. Chua. Long Fei entered the God's Devil Space, and the idea sank, saying, "Ancestor, open the 9th floor." Yin Huang Ancestor shook his head. "You're really crazy. God's Bone Taboo, 5th level. Open." After Long Fei entered the 9th floor of the God's Devil Space, he instantly activated the God's Bone Taboo. Even though he was currently in the Spiritual Levy 6, he still could not withstand the powerful antiphasic force of the 9th floor. 5th level, Peerless. Ding! Proficiency plus 13. The moment Wu Shuang released, the power on Long Fei's body started to boil. At the same time, he removed the cultivation techniques in the Qi method column, which were already unable to keep up with the immortal domain. Gravity Knife. 1/ for 10,000 gene. Dragon Salure Technique. Dragon Chop. Ding! Infinite Sword. 9 Knives Force. Azura. Domineering. Ding! Comprehension failed. Domineering. Comprehension failed. Long Fei did not stop to rest. He could not level up, and level increase was the only way for him to increase it. The higher the level of the skill, the more harmful it would be. Since he had decided to fight, he would prepare for it with all his heart. For the next 3 days, other than eating and resting for 4 hours, Long Fei cultivated his cultivation technique. When the god's devil token's time was up, he would return back to being a cost user and cultivate. Crazy training. For the past 3 days, he had been like a mad demon. Seeing Long Fei trying so hard and giving everything to others, since Long Fei chose to fight, he would support him with all his might. To bring honor to our logistics department. Young Master Long, you have to do your best. Let them see if the disciples of our logistics department are trash or not. Everyone held their breaths. On the 5th day, ding! Congratulations to the player, Long Fei, for cultivating the skill Dragon Salyer Technique to the Great Perfection stage. Ding! Congratulations to the player Long Fei for cultivating the skill Mountain Hit Fist to the Great Perfection stage. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up to level 5. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up to level 4. Ding! A series of notifications sounded. Long Fei leveled up all the skills that he could use. Huff! Long Fei put away the Dragon Salyer. With a move of the idea in his heart, he asked, Ancestor, how is the training of the Yin soldiers progressing? Long Fei was cultivating, and the Ancestor was not idle either. He promised to help Long Fei train his ghost soldiers. The Yan Huang Ancestor said, The resources are limited, but we can still train 10 virtual immortals stages Yin soldiers. The other Yin soldiers have also stepped into the spiritual level. Long Fei said, Ancestor, can I use it? Yan Huang Ancestor said, Of course you can. As long as you give the order, all the Yin soldiers will listen to you. Long Fei became excited. This was the God Emperor Academy, a gathering place for geniuses. Long Fei himself didn't have the confidence to win all the way, nor could he summon the giant demons from the fighting arena. The ghost soldiers were his best helpers. Of course, unless it was absolutely necessary, Long Fei would not use it. Long Fei walked out of the small forest, where all the servant disciples of Sun Datu were waiting for him in the courtyard. Have you decided? Sun Datu asked. Long Fei nodded his head heavily. Sun Datu said excitedly, All right, since you have decided, we will do it. We will definitely cheer for you. Fan Tong said, Young Master Long, do your best. Dajun and many other service disciples said, Young Master Long, all the best. After a period of contact, Long Fei had become their hope, an unattainable dream, the dream of a service disciple becoming an official disciple. They had placed all their hopes on Long Fei, as the service disciples of the God Emperor Academy had always been looked down upon by others. But no one knows how much effort they put in. No one knew what God Emperor Academy would have become if not for their daily cleaning. No one knew them. It was just like the South Horizon region that had been forgotten. How many people in the Tianwu continent knew of the South Horizon region? How many people knew about the Long family? Long Fei would fight for himself, fight for the logistics department, fight for the South Horizon region. Long Fei clenched both his fists tightly and said, I will definitely win. Go to fighting arena. The group walked towards the fighting arena. In another place, law enforcement agency, 19 small courtyards. He really did sit cross-legged. 3 thin long swords floated around him. He cultivated the sword spirit immortal root, so the 3 swords seemed like they had 3 lives. Suddenly, a humming sound came from the sword. Swish! He disappeared. Also at this time, a disciple walked into the courtyard. That disciple hastily walked in front of 19. He did not know that there was a thin sword floating at the back of his head. It was completely silent. As long as 19 idea moved, that slender sword would pierce through his head, killing without a trace. These were the 19 swords, the invisible swords. Reporting to the principal, Long Fei has gone to the fighting arena. 19's eyes widened slightly. The corners of his mouth curled up as he smiled and said, Finally gone? Carrot half. /float asterisk life. Time to go. If he can't even get the status of an official disciple, how can he complete the grand undertaking of the supreme God's plan? Long Fei, don't let me down. Chapter 28_8419/ 2357092. Long Fei was very anxious to unravel the secret of the dragon realm. Long Fei was very anxious to unravel the secret of the dragon realm. However, there was someone more anxious than him, the Supreme God. 19 was arranged by the Supreme God to help Long Fei clear some of the obstacles. Coincidentally, when Zhongti and I left the God Emperor Academy, everyone naturally took care of Long Fei in his name. Perfectly flawless. Fighting arena. All right, it's too beautiful. The 8th battle, Li Tianwei wins. Within half a month, he has won 8 consecutive rounds. His points have already reached 380 points. Too fierce. He's indeed one of the top 100 first-year disciples. A round of excited cheers came from the fighting arena. Li Tianwei walked down the stage, and his lackeys immediately went up to him, flattering him. Young Master Li's victory was too beautiful. He instantly crushed me. Haha. For this round, you will definitely rank in the top 10. It's not just the top 10. I think we'll be entering the top 50. Li Tianwei smiled complacently and said, others painstakingly completed missions with all their effort only to get such a small amount of points. As long as I make a move, I can win so many points. Ha ha ha. To be able to win 8 rounds in a row was indeed amazing. However, Fighting Arena's record was 18 consecutive victories. This was the record left behind by a person called Nameless. It wasn't that his name was Nameless, but that he didn't leave a name behind. All of them were called Nameless, and he was the idol of every fanatic. Bang, bang, bang. A disciple walked up to the battle drum and started to beat the battle drum. Everyone looked over. The disciple's figure blurred. Then he jumped down from the high ground and steadily landed on the arena. He hugged his hands and said, College of War Martial Arts, Sword Cultivator, 5th level of the Berserker Immortal Realm, 1st year disciple Wang Qingshan. Newbie. His name isn't recorded in the combat record. He should be a newcomer. The reason why College of War Martial Arts came here should be to prepare for the 1st year ranking tournament half a year later, right? Probably. Training in the fighting arena is a common practice for their Oya sword instructors, but to be able to catch the attention of their Oya sword instructors means that this guy is not simple. There were many people gathered in fighting arena. I challenge him. While they were talking, a rough and boorish man walked out. Carrying a heavy axe on his shoulder, he walked onto the stage and said, a first-year disciple, mainly focused on strength, 5th level of the Mad Immortal stage, Chengda Axe. The new disciple's score was 100 points. Chengda Axe's original score was 8 points. Chengda Teo said, I'll bet everything. Wang Qingshan also said, I will bet everything. Long Fei looked from afar and asked, Leader's son, what do you mean by bet everything? Sun Data said, if you bet everything on it, you would bet all your points. If you lose, you will get 0 points, and you're not allowed to fight again within half a month. I have also lost the opportunity to earn points in the arena. Long Fei nodded his head. How many points do you think I have? Sun Data looked at Long Fei and scratched his head, saying, about that, I don't know either. College of War Martial Arts is a main force. The original 100 points for the disciples are all on the stage, but none of us service disciples have ever gone up to the arena before. Fan Tong said, I need an evaluation. At this moment, the arena had already begun. Chengda Axe's strength was astonishing. Each of his moves seemed to be able to cut through the heavens and earth. Where the axe moved, it was like a ghost crying. Long Fei was slightly shocked in his heart. What a powerful strength. If he did not use other powers, Long Fei would not be able to release this kind of power. Wang Qingshan continuously dodged, and each time was just right. His movement technique was like a ghost, as if a piece of paper was floating. God Emperor Academy is truly worthy of being the #1 academy in the Sky Martial Continent. Long Fei was shocked once again. He didn't think so during the assessment. Seeing the battle between these two disciples, he suddenly felt something was different. It really was a gathering of geniuses. I've struck with my sword, Wang Qingshan faintly said. Chengda Axe shouted, if you don't use your sword, I'll hack you to death. All right, Wang Qingshan's figure moved, his right hand holding the sword hilt. He shouted, "Break!" Chua! Buzz! Long Fei's eyes suddenly shook. Lightning sword draw, that was shockingly fast. He had cultivated the solitary 9 swords to the 8th level. But even so, he could only barely see through the way he used to pull out the sword, the strength, and the speed. It was as fast as lightning. This sword attack was directed straight at Cheng Dashi's throat, and the sword aura on the sword blade was like a flame that was slowly burning. Cheng Dateo lost. Cheng de Axe's axe fell, and he gave a silly smile as he said, "What a fast sword technique. I hope to meet you again at this year's ranking tournament. When the time comes, I'll definitely show you what a good show I'll make." Wang Qingshan retracted his sword and said, "Senior brother thanks you." A Sun Datum muttered from afar, "It's too fast. I can't see it clearly at all. This is the difference. I can't keep up at all. The Oya Sword Instructor is the great instructor for God Emperor Academy's sword techniques. If I can get her guidance, I can definitely improve by leaps and bounds." Fan Tong's eyes showed incomparable envy. Training relied on oneself. However, if he had a good teacher to guide him, his cultivation would be much faster. The sword technique just now was very similar to the sword drawing arts of the solitary 9 swords that Long Fei had cultivated. Long Fei thought to himself, "Instructor of the Oya sword, was the sword drawing arts comprehended by you?" Suddenly, Long Fei was very interested in this Oya sword instructor. At this time, Long Fei walked to the side of the war drum and sounded the battle drum. The people from Fighting Arena were startled again. Why is another newcomer joining today? Seems like a lot of them are fanatics. What's his background? I've never seen it before. Is he a first-year disciple? While they were talking, Long Fei slowly walked down the stairs and onto the stage. He hugged his hands and said, "Logistics Department, no major cultivator, spiritual levy 6, newbie Long Fei." As soon as he said those words, the entire hall went silent. Poochie! One person couldn't hold it in and burst out in laughter. Ha ha ha! Ha ha! At the same time, the people of Fighting Arena all started laughing loudly. Logistics Department? No major? Your main job should be sweeping the floor, right? Ha ha! Brat, you came to the wrong place. Do you want to clean Fighting Arena? Are you here to tease me? This is the funniest joke I've heard this year. The disciples of the Logistics Department have come to challenge the Fighting Arena. Are you trying to scare them to death? They were all laughing at him. Long Fei expected it. However, along the way, he had already gotten used to all kinds of jeers. Don't be angry when others were laughing at you, and use your strongest strength to crush them. Then, see if they could laugh. Then, they would discover that they were laughing at their own ignorance. A manager from the Fighting Arena walked over and said, "Are you sure you want to participate in the competition?" Long Fei nodded and said, "I'm sure. They were here to do it." Chapter 3. My daughter has recovered well enough to be discharged from the hospital today. Haiyang's heart finally relaxed. When she returns home in the afternoon, there will still be updates. Tomorrow, do your best to make up for it. 8_8419/2357093. I'll ask you again, are you sure? I'll ask you again, are you sure? Long Fei replied seriously. I'm sure, the old manager said. Because you're a service disciple and a newbie, we have to make a comprehensive assessment of your strength before we can obtain the points. Long Fei said, I can wait. The manager left. The mocking laughter from the crowd continued unceasingly. Servant disciples have the nerve to come out and embarrass themselves? Get the hell out of here. Don't embarrass yourself. This kind of person doesn't have the qualifications to participate in the martial competition. These days, there are always people who like to court their own deaths. Sun Dada's few service disciples were all ugly. They could not even raise their heads when they heard someone talk about them. They knew that this would happen, and they even said that they would be mocked before Long Fei arrived. There are always countless taunts on the road to success. Don't be discouraged. When you succeed, the taunters will be as insignificant as ants. 10 minutes later, the manager walked up and said, We've made a comprehensive assessment. Your score is 0. 5 points. Ah ha ha. 0, 5 points. I'm going to die from laughter. I'm going to set a new record. He's really here to be a joke. The mocking smile on the man's face intensified. In the nearly 100 years of the God Emperor Academy's history, Long Fei was the first to challenge the fighting arena as a service disciple. 0, 5 points. The existence of a weak watch. Long Fei was also a little at a loss whether to laugh or cry, and said, "How did it get 0, 5 points?" That manager said, "It's just a comprehensive assessment. Your logistics department 0 points. Your spiritual levy SX has 0 points. You don't have any major points. Your 0, 5 points is because you are a service disciple within the God Emperor Academy. I advise you to give up. Your cultivation is not even able to reach fighting arena. Even if you can, who would be interested in your 0, 5 points? Indeed, who would be interested in 0, 5 point? It was like a penny from his previous life, falling to the ground and nobody picking it up. Get lost. This isn't a funny place. Let's go back there." No one was willing to fight with Long Fei, because fighting with Long Fei meant losing status. Fighting with trash, wouldn't that mean that he was also trash? In the entire fighting arena, no one came out to meet him head-on. At this moment, Long Fei moved, heaven-shaking power. Boom lightly said, "Whoever can defeat me, this steel monster will belong to him." Many people knew about the steel monster, and the influence of the auction started to spread. The power of 3,000 fairy stones? This guy is not bad. So what if he's not bad? If we fought with a trash like him, he would become trash himself. At this moment, Long Fei moved, alloy armor. Chua. A set of alloy armor floated beside Long Fei, and he said lightly, "Defeat me, and this is also its." Without waiting for anyone to speak, Long Fei moved again, summoning out his devil sword. This devil sword is also his. Is someone calling? What was a tycoon? This was a tycoon. The devil sword was worth 100 immortal crystals, and alloy armor were worth at least 100,000 or so in terms of might. This was a large amount of money, and it was an enticement that even the students of the God Emperor Academy could not resist. Spending money to get someone to beat him up? Is this person crazy? I'll do it. I'll do it. After the devil's sword was taken out, many disciples shouted loudly. One of the disciples immediately rushed to the stage and said excitedly, "College of War Martial Arts mainly cultivates the sword arts. 3rd stage of the Wild Immortal stage. 1st year Lu Meng." "Please," that manager said slightly. Lu Meng's original score was 5 points. Long Fei's score is 0, 5. Long Fei said, "I will bet everything." Lu Meng laughed disdainfully. "I will bet everything that these 3 items are mine." As soon as he finished, his right hand moved, and a mountain-splitting knife appeared in his hand. He lowered his footsteps and chopped down the mountain-splitting knife in his hand. It was a simple move, but it contained a strong blade technique power. "I'm here." Long Fei did not let his guard down. As his right hand descended, the dragon's salure landed in his hand. Bam! The two forces collided, producing a dull sound of collision. They were evenly matched. Lu Meng's body shook slightly, and he retreated half a step. The same goes for Long Fei, but the difference between them was that Lu Meng's reaction was slower by half a second. The moment Long Fei retreated, he pushed off with his right leg, and his body exploded outwards. The dragon's salure slashed ferociously. Roar! A black blade energy came crashing down. Lu Meng's pupils constricted as he used his mountain-splitting knife to block the attack. Crack! The mountain-splitting knife broke. Long Fei's dragon salure was resting on Lu Meng's neck. Lu Meng was so angry that smoke came out from his head. His entire body shivered. His eyes stared straight at Long Fei, as though he was about to spew out fire. Long Fei, who completely did not know about the spiritual levy 6, could actually move that fast. However, a loss was a loss. It would be laughable if he couldn't afford to lose. His right fist loosened and the mountain-splitting knife fell down, saying, "I lost." The entire audience was stunned. Lu Meng of the 3rd stage of the Wild Immortal realm actually lost. Just now, his reaction was faster than Lu Meng by half a second, and it was only in that half a second that he lost. Lu Meng was too careless. No one thought that Long Fei had won beautifully. Long Fei did not win because of his strength, but because of his reaction, which made Lu Meng lower his guard. This was what everyone agreed on. Long Fei wins. Individual score is 5. 5 points. The referee's voice faded. Sun Danian and the others hugged each other and jumped up in excitement. We won, we won. Ha ha ha. Long Fei wins. Just like how Long Fei had won 1,000 points. Long Fei did not walk down the stage and said, I will continue my challenge. I'll do it. A mere service disciple dares to be arrogant. I'll let you know the power of fighting arena. Shwa! One of them flew up, his hands formed claws. He landed on the stage and reported his name, then grabbed at Xiang Long Fei's throat. Long Fei withdrew his dragon salures, and his hands also formed claws. Dragon claws. Boom, boom. After 3 rounds, Long Fei wins. Individual score is 16. 5 points. Long Fei's gaze swept across. Next. I'll do it. A disciple flew up onto the stage. Long Fei wins. Individual score is 305 points. Next. He constantly said, next, and constantly saw disciples rush towards the arena, winning 8 matches in a row and in less than half an hour. This speed was too astonishing. Those who had begun to mock Long Fei could no longer laugh. Upon thinking of how they would start laughing at him, their faces turned hot as though they had been slapped in the face. Mocking Long Fei? #half. /float * life. They didn't even have the qualifications. Long Fei smashed a disciple down and said, next. Wang Qingshan walked forward and said, I'll do it. Long Fei laughed excitedly and thought, I have always wanted to try out the lightning sword draw chapter 48_8419/2357094. The solitary 9 swords' sword drawing arts was truly strong. The solitary 9 swords' sword drawing arts was truly strong. The lightning sword drawing arts was an evolved version of it, but Wang Qingshan's sword arts did not stop there. How strong could he become? Would he still know the other moves of the solitary 9 swords? Long Fei was looking forward to it. The moment Wang Qingshan walked out, the flames in his heart started to burn. The flame of battle intent. If one were to talk about fanatics, no one was more fanatical than him. Wang Qingshan, a disciple of the sword master, Aoya. His swordsmanship is too sharp. It has the feeling of being able to perform everything in the sleigh. Who will win? I feel that if Wang Qingshan can win, he is a disciple of the College of War Martial Arts Sword Cultivator and also a disciple of Aoya's personally teaching in the way of the sword. He is definitely not ordinary. The reason that Long Fei can win 8 rounds consecutively is because none of the 8 of them have a strong cultivation, and the highest is only at the 4th stage of the Berserker Immortal Realm. None of the true experts of fighting arena came out. Wang Qingshan walked up onto the stage and didn't wait for him to speak. In a distant place, dressed in a tight suit, he had a curvy figure, a cold expression, and eyes that gave others a strong sense of oppression. Suddenly, Great Sword Master Oya, someone in the crowd, called out, Wow, my goddess! It's too beautiful! The first sword expert in College of War Martial Arts. She is one of the 10 great beauties of the God Emperor Academy, and the only one among all the instructors in the God Emperor Academy to have entered into the list of beauties. Goddess, she seems to be ravaging you. Long Fei also followed their gazes and looked, and his eyes immediately trembled. Not because she was beautiful. It wasn't because of her identity as a great sword master, but because of the golden exclamation mark floating above her head. What did that mean? It meant a mission. Wang Qingshan respectfully said, Teacher Aoya. Aoya slowly walked over and lightly glanced at Long Fei. Her eyes were cold and filled with chilliness. At the same time, her body was also filled with a strong, oppressive aura. It was not the oppression of one's cultivation, but the oppression of a queen. Aoya said slightly, Fight him tomorrow. Wang Qingshan immediately replied, "Yes, disciple." He didn't dare to ask why. The elder in charge also walked up and said, "Then let the battle be banned. Tomorrow, the first round of the martial competition will be between you two." Long Fei, do you agree? Long Fei looked at Aoya, his eyes not moving at all. It was so obvious that he had no intention to dodge as he stared at Aoya. Is he crazy? He's going to become disabled. He's going to become disabled. Even the dean wouldn't dare to stare at great sword master Oya like that. This kid must have been bewitched by teacher Oya's beauty. Aoya's eyebrows tightened. Her eyes were staring at Long Fei with even more coldness, and the swords of some of the surrounding disciples began to tremble intensely. An intense sword hum. Long Fei acted as if he didn't see it, and continued to stare at Aoya. Her chest was big, buttocks were upturned, and she was dressed in tight clothing, and it was even that kind of teacher's attire. Uniform 01? These were not the reasons that Long Fei was shocked. He was shocked because Oya was very, very similar to one of the heroes in the 101's The Teacher Skin Grand Duelist. Grand Duelist Fiona, and at this moment. Ding! Affability level, 100 points. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for coming across the 8 Great Vajra mission and taming Great Sword Master Aoya. Do you wish to accept? Mission level, as time of mission, 1 year, task reward, 100,000 experience, 10,000 power of celestial, 101 hero skills, 1 move, available for free. Oh, Long Fei was stunned. Wakaka, she's one of my 8 great King Kong. The Grand Duelist, the Sword Force King Kong. Oh my god, Long Fei was boiling, incomparably boiling. His eyes were burning even more as he looked at Aoya, staring at her with eyes that were getting colder and colder, as if he could kill him at any time. Ding! Affability level, 100 points. Current affability level, 199. Long Fei did not care about the affability level. His eyes stared straight at Aoya without any fear. He said extremely tyrannically, "You are mine now." As soon as he finished, the entire arena was shocked. Everyone was thinking, this kid is going to die soon. This is crazy. He's really crazy. Wang Qingshan's face also darkened, signaling for Long Fei to stop talking. Long Fei acted as if he did not see it, and faintly smiled. "You must be mine." Walala. The entire audience was in an uproar. Aoya's gaze became even more terrifying and sinister. The surrounding sword cries suddenly became heavier. The sword intent all disappeared, but there was a powerful sword intent rushing in from Long Fei's sea of consciousness. Aoya glanced at Long Fei coldly, then said to Wang Qingshan, "Go back." Wang Qingshan's heart relaxed and immediately walked down the stage. Oya turned around and left without saying a word. As Long Fei watched her figure recede into the distance, the corner of his mouth hooked up as he laughed excitedly. Grand Duelist is too intrepid. He also knew that Aoya was not a Grand Duelist. However, I really want to. If he could create another set of Origin Formation armor for him. Long Fei was so excited that he could no longer think about it. Furthermore, when he checked the quest and saw the reward of 101 hero skill, he seemed to have gone crazy. If the Sword Force King Kong is a Grand Duelist, then who is the arrogant knife King Kong? It couldn't be the Barbarian King, right? The scene was too beautiful to imagine. The surrounding people looked at Long Fei's crazy laughter, and all of them looked at him with disdain. This person is too crazy. Why didn't the goddess Oya attack him? I really miss sword cultivators. Like this, I could see the goddess every day. Long Fei walked down the stage. Sun Datu immediately walked forward and said, "Are you crazy? That is the Oya Swords instructor, God Emperor Academy's #1 expert in the way of the sword. You actually dared to tease her." Fan Tong said with incomparable adoration, "Young Master Long, you're too handsome, so handsome that it's crappy. You're too awesome. No one dares to tease teacher Aoya. You're the first one in God Emperor Academy." "Ha ha," Long Fei asked. "Which courtyard is she in?" Sun Data said. College of War Martial Arts specializes in teaching the way of the sword and sword. Her father was once the #1 sword master of a mortal domain. College of War Martial Arts, right? All right, then I'll go to College of War Martial Arts. Long Fei made his decision in an instant. Although the mission given by the system lasted for a year, he couldn't wait any longer. He wished that he could subdue Oya immediately. Long Fei walked out with large strides. Sun Datu, Fan Tong, and a few others stood where they were and looked at Long Fei's back, all of them revealing expressions of admiration. Wang Qingshan followed behind Aoya and asked, "Teacher Aoya, why did you? Floating life. Table of contents, no windows?" A plus without waiting for him to finish. Aoya interrupted him and said, "You are not his opponent. Today, you will practice the sword drawing arts 10,000 times. I hope you can realize something. Otherwise, you will still lose tomorrow." The sword intent she left in Long Fei's sea of consciousness did not stop at all and was directly devoured by Long Fei's infinite sword. She was shocked. The 5th chapter was sent over. In the end, I'll say that I owe you 4 chapters. In addition, Haiyang promised to go berserk at the end of this month. 8_8419/2357095. Today, there was a person who consecutively won 8 matches in Fighting Arena. All of them were defeated within 5 moves. He's too formidable. Today, there was a person who consecutively won 8 matches in Fighting Arena. All of them were defeated within 5 moves. He's too formidable. He won 8 matches in a day and instantly caught up to Li Tianwei's record of half a month. I heard that disciple is also a service disciple. Is that true? 8 consecutive victories is nothing. I heard that he confessed to God Emperor Academy's #1 swordsman, our goddess, Master Aoya. Oh my God, is this true? A service disciple dares to confess to Goddess Oya? Have we lived more than a year on dogs? Why didn't teacher Oya kill him? Tomorrow is the battle between Oya, disciple Wang Qingshan, and the service disciple. We definitely cannot miss it. Teacher Oya will definitely go. I want to go as well. I'm going to see Goddess Oya. The whole first-year department was talking about it. Aoya was extremely popular in the first-year division. This was because she was the goddess in the hearts of countless young men. She was cold. She was the queen. She had a big chest and a perky butt. Not only the students, even many elders and instructors regarded Aoya as a goddess. It could be said, although the 8 consecutive victories did not cause a sensation, Long Fei's confession to Aoya caused a huge sensation. Or, to be more exact, it was not considered a sensation either. It was anger. It was as if their goddess had been desecrated. No matter what, he shouldn't be confessing to a service disciple. She had to go meet that service disciple of hers. Aoya was the goddess of the College of War Martial Arts, so even if she had to confess, she would have to be an expert of the College of War Martial Arts. She belonged to the College of War Martial Arts. All of a sudden, many people were rubbing their fists and getting ready. Many experts from the fighting arena were attracted over. Tomorrow, fighting arena would definitely be especially exciting. Logistics department. Strangely, Lu Ba had already disappeared. Since he returned from the Martial Repository Pavilion the other time, he'd vanished and never appeared again. To the disciples of the logistics department, this was a joyous matter. In the courtyard of logistics department, Fan Tong hurriedly ran in and said, "Young Master Long, the reaction is too intense." Leader Sun said, "I knew it. Servant disciples have won 8 consecutive rounds. Tomorrow, there will definitely be an expert blocking Long Fei. Tomorrow, the real expert will appear." Fan Tong said, "There were not many discussions about the 8 consecutive victories." Leader Sun was stunned for a moment, then asked, "Then what are they so excited about?" Fan Tong looked at Long Fei and said, "They're discussing the matter of young Master Long confessing to Aoya, saying that a service disciple does not deserve to confess to Goddess Aoya. Tomorrow, they will kill young Master Long on the arena." Leader Sun frowned as he muttered to himself, "This is bad. I have neglected the influence of Goddess Aoya in God Emperor Academy. Leader Sun looked at Long Fei and said, "Why don't we call a truce tomorrow?" "No way," Long Fei said. "Today's 8 consecutive wins is only a little over 100 points. The points these people have are simply too little, so winning 1,000 is simply too difficult." He also knew that the people he competed with today were all level 2 or 3 arrogant immortal disciples. Their cultivation wasn't high, and they didn't have many points. He couldn't win much. If you want to quickly accumulate points, you have to win against some powerful fighters. Long Fei could not wait any longer. He hadn't felt anything before, but now he felt that his level was just too low. He had to obtain the identity of an official disciple as soon as possible. He had to get out of the God Emperor Academy as soon as possible to hunt demon beasts to level up, and also, the Dragon Universe map had been spinning in his mind during this period of time. He had a feeling that somewhere in his heart, a dragon was calling out to him. Maybe the dragon was really the head of the Yuan Long Dragon Head. Long Fei didn't have the time to wait any longer, so no matter what kind of strong expert he met tomorrow, he would still go all out. He silently thought in his heart, "No one can stop me, no one." Seeing how determined Long Fei was, the Sun Data did not say anything else. "Have a good rest. There will be a lot of people watching tomorrow. You must win a few more rounds so that your strongest power can be revealed and caught the eyes of those elders from the College of Martial Arts Training. That way, you can obtain the status of an official disciple and they will choose you." Leader Sun smiled slightly. A formal disciple can join one of the 18 generations of College of Martial Arts Training. However, the condition was that they had to have a College of Martial Arts Training. If he used up enough strength, there would definitely be a College of Martial Arts Training who would take him in. Long Fei nodded and said, "I understand. Leader Sun, Fantong Dajuan, just you wait. Once I become an official disciple, I will complete the mission as soon as possible and earn points to help you exchange for official disciple status." Long Fei secretly swore in his heart. He did not say it out loud. However, he would do it. At night, Long Fei turned into a devil. After cultivating in the God's Bone taboo for such a long time, his sky demon body had already changed into a black bone devil. The devilish aura on his body also started to surge. Moreover, it contained the powerful power of the heavenly bone. Every bone contained explosive power. Devil body had become incredibly ugly. The uglier he was, the stronger his power was, and the stronger the power of heavenly bone was. The power of the sky demon physique that Long Fei had not used before was all used for cultivation techniques. What realm did his current God's devil body strength reach? Long Fei did not know either. Infinite sword. Long Fei moved, the devil sword in his hand, moved along with him, sword drawing style. Buzz! The sword intent raged, and the sword chi was released like a crazy steam. The infinite sword against the grand duelist, the sword saint against the heavenly sword goddess, hee. Just thinking about it makes me excited. Long Fei's heart started boiling. His battle intent began to blaze as well. He definitely had to bring out the might of a sword saint during the battle tomorrow. Sword drawing arts. Ding. Proficiency plus 12 points. Infinite sword. Holy sword 81 moves. Ding. Other than Long Fei, who was cultivating in the proficiency, his brain was not idle at all. He was also trying to comprehend the even stronger sword intent in the infinite sword. He believed that there was still an even stronger sword intent. In another place, in Wang Qingshan's courtyard, he did the same action again and again. Pull out the sword. Again and again. There was no end to it. Aoya told him to practice for 10,000 times. He had already reached this number, but he still didn't stop and continued to train. He wanted to win. He had to win. He wanted to protect the goddess. Equals semi/floating life plus. What Long Fei had said infuriated the deepest part of his heart. Wang Qingshan's right hand moved as the long sword flew out, slashing out his sword intent. He said solemnly, "Only a true expert worthy of teacher Aoya, a service disciple, is not yet qualified. Not even the slightest bit. I will beat you down tomorrow." Chapter 18_8419/2357096. Early morning. Early morning. The fighting arena had already become a sea of people, bustling with noise and excitement. The news of Long Fei winning 8 matches consecutively and confessing to Aoya in one night had already spread throughout the entire first grade. Many people were filled with righteous indignation, wanting to see who dared to snatch the goddess away from them. Let's see who the K doesn't want to stay in this place anymore. How can a service disciple confess to Goddess Aoya? This is insulting our College of War Martial Arts. Blasphemy against the goddess. We will not allow it. I have to crush him no matter what happens today. I want to beat a shit out of him and make him kneel in front of teacher Oya to apologize. The fighting arena clamored intensely. Many people's faces were filled with anger. In their hearts, Aoya was an existence that could not be desecrated by the goddess. If you weren't an absolute expert, you wouldn't be worthy of confessing to her. He had to at least have the cultivation of golden immortal rank to be qualified. However, they were all wrong. Confession didn't care about your cultivation level or how strong you were. What it cared about was whether or not you dared to do anything. You were destined to fail for life. As long as you dare to do it, you were a step closer to success. Of course, Long Fei and Aoya was extremely far away, so this small step was insignificant. He's here. Wang Qingshan is here. He really came. Wang Qingshan walked into the training grounds, and many people looked over. At this moment, the aura coming from Wang Qingshan's body was somewhat different from yesterday, and stronger. Compared to yesterday, his comprehension of sword intent had increased by another level. He had already cultivated the sword-drawing style to the point of shocking ghosts and gods. Senior Brother Wang, beat him to death for the sake of Goddess Aoya. Senior Brother Wang, you must avenge our College of War Martial Arts and beat that service disciple back to his original form. I must make him look good. Wang Qingshan was expressionless. Today, his purpose for coming was to trample Long Fei beneath his feet. It was also at this time, in another place, Long Fei, Sun Datu, Fan Tong, and the army of 6 or 7 all walked into the fighting arena wearing the clothes of service disciples. A lower grade. His status was low. The people of fighting arena could tell a glance. That kid is here. He really is a service disciple. I thought he was a fake. Servant disciples should do your job properly, running to fighting arena and being cocky. This is not a place for you to be cocky. Kid, I will definitely not let you win again today. Servant disciples, get out. Compared to yesterday, today, he mocked even more. Even more so, Long Fei clenched his fists tightly and said coldly in his heart, let's see if you can still laugh in a bit. Sun Datu reminded him, Long Fei, don't be affected by them. Be yourself. Long Fei said, thank you, Leader Sun. Finished. Long Fei then walked towards the fighting arena's stage. Servant disciples should clean up properly. Who gave you the courage to confess to Oya? What right do you have to say something like that? Get out. This is not a place you can stay. A good service disciple should not be so good, yet he wants to become crippled. If he didn't take a step forward, it would attract countless jeers and hoots. Long Fei was unhappy, very unhappy. However, he was patient. The best way to deal with these taunts was to ruthlessly crush their opponents in the arena. Wang Qingshan also walked towards the stage. As he slowly walked over, Long Fei looked at the distant Wang Qingshan, and his heart was secretly shocked. In a short night, the aura around his body became a lot stronger. It seems that Aoya is quite capable. That's right. How could one of my 8 great King Kong be a mediocre person? Long Fei laughed in his heart. When he thought that Aoya was one of the 8 great King Kong, he couldn't help but become excited. He thought that the 8 great King Kong were all male, but he didn't expect that the Sword Force King Kong was actually female. Furthermore, it was a grand duelist-type woman. Very strong. The strong ones exploded. Almost at the same time, Long Fei and Wang Qingshan walked up the arena. Wang Qingshan changed from yesterday's low key and looked at Long Fei. I will trample you underfoot. I will use the sword in my hand to make you pay the price for desecrating teacher. Very powerful. Long Fei looked around with a slight smile and said, Your teacher didn't come. Wang Qingshan said, Teacher will not waste his time in a place like this, nor will teacher waste his time on a mere service disciple. I don't care who you are or what kind of background you have. I want to tell you one thing. You don't have the qualifications to confess to my teacher. Because of your identity. Not worthy. Anger burned in his eyes. Long Fei's eyes were also brimming with anger. The corners of his mouth hooked up, and he coldly said, You're not worthy, are you? Wang Qingshan said, A service disciple should have the awareness of being a service disciple. In the history of the God Emperor Academy, there has never been a service disciple who could become an official disciple. Even you cannot. Disdain could be seen in his eyes. The people around the arena were the same, their eyes filled with contempt. They disdained it. Servant disciples would never be able to make it onto the stage. Long Fei's smile remained, and he said, Then let's begin. I will let you know what qualifications are used, and how it is used to break history. He didn't want to continue talking. He was extremely unhappy. Wang Qingshan let out a light breath, and the aura on his body turned cold. He instantly entered the state of decapitation and said solemnly, I'll bet everything. Long Fei said, We will bet everything. As soon as he finished, Wang Qingshan's sword moved. He stared at Long Fei and shouted, Get down. Sword drawing arts. The unrivaled sword draw. It was extremely fast. Long Fei similarly let out a sigh of relief and thought to himself, As expected, fast. However, I'm faster than you. Long Fei's right hand moved, and the devil's sword appeared in his hand. He released the sword intent from the infinite sword and stepped forward, saying, Then let's see who exactly is lying on the ground. The same action, the same aura. They both used sword-drawing stances. It was hard to tell who was faster. The moment the two swords clashed, sword cries rang out in all directions, and explosive sounds rang out in the air. Powerful sword intents clashed against each other, and creaking sounds could be heard as if powerful metal was clashing against each other. Buzz! Bam! A powerful energy shockwave exploded out, causing Wang Qingshan to retreat quickly. His face was pale white, the blood under his chest was boiling, and his right hand that was holding onto his sword was trembling. Long Fei stood in his original position, not moving at all. Just now, it seemed like a single move, but it took dozens of moves. Long Fei slightly said, You've lost. As soon as his voice fell, equals semi/floating life plus, the entire audience was in an uproar. They were all stunned, and many people did not even know what had happened. Are you qualified? Is it good enough now? Long Fei's aura became arrogant and overbearing. He glared and shouted, Is it enough? Chapter 28_8419/2357097. Chapter 724 Slay. Chapter 724 Slay, arrogant and domineering. Once Long Fei's voice fell, the entire audience fell silent. Wang Qingshan clenched his teeth and roared out, You are not qualified. Boom! His body was like a roaring demon beast. Immortal foundation. The power of a demonic beast's immortal foundation. The sword in his hand moved, thrusting towards Xiang Long Fei's forehead. Die. His sword intent surged several times. His strength was also instantly overlaid. Quite fierce. Long Fei's forehead turned sinister. The devil's sword in his hand also moved slightly. Is it not enough yet? Then I will let you know what is called sword intent. Buzz. The sword intent on Long Fei's body also ignited, a sword intent visible to the naked eye. It rose up like steam. The demon's sword in his hand moved, flying into the air. Buzz, buzz, buzz. 9 consecutive explosions. From the 9 demon swords, Long Fei shouted, 9 swords in one. Kill. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. A series of metal clashing sounds could be heard as the 9 demon swords formed a gigantic demon sword and slashed at Wang Qingshan. Crack! As the devil sword descended, the sword intent on Wang Qingshan's body cracked apart. The sword in his hand also cracked. Too powerful. S body was trembling. It was already difficult for him to take even half a step further. Crack! The sword intent was completely shattered. The devil sword was only a few centimeters away from Wang Qingshan's head. At this moment, Long Fei swept his gaze across and roared, "You laugh at me? You two are worthy of that." The killing thought moved. Killing intent rose. This killing intent seemed to be out of Long Fei's control. With the condensation of the killing thought, its appearance meant killing, and as Long Fei got angry, the killing thought would release its killing intent to control Long Fei's thoughts and let him kill him. Yin Huang ancestor frowned and shouted, "Calm down a little." A stream of power surged out and crushed the killing intent released by the killing thought. At the same time, a figure landed, holding a thin sword in his hand. Clang! The devil sword's sword intent instantly collapsed, and the devil sword also fell to the ground outside of Long Fei's control. "Oya!" She stood in front of Long Fei and said faintly, "Enough." Long Fei laughed faintly. "What do you mean enough? Is he qualified to chase after you?" "I don't need the qualifications to chase after you, because you are mine." King Kong didn't say it out loud. Oya frowned. Long Fei said firmly, "You must be mine." The surrounding disciples felt as if they were adding oil to the fire. "Kid, don't be too arrogant. Kid, don't be too arrogant. Let me go up, I want to kill him." Long Fei's actions had angered the masses. Speaking to the goddess like that in front of their eyes, wasn't this equivalent to treating them as non-existent? Aoya looked at Long Fei and said, "Let's talk about it after you become an official disciple." And then she turned around and looked at Wang Qingshan and said, "Go back and use the sword drawing arts 100,000 times." Wang Qingshan lowered his head and said, "I am sorry, teacher. I have disappointed you." Aoya walked down the stage. She did not say anything else. She did not have the time to speak. Her mind was filled with the sword intent released by Long Fei, and that fleeting killing intent. Her sword intent had already reached a bottleneck, and she had not broken through it for more than a year. There was something strong about to erupt. Long Fei looked at Aoya's departing back and said loudly, "Don't worry. I will definitely take the College of War Martial Arts examination. You will definitely be mine." There was no need to hide anything. It was precisely this kind of insolence. Aoya did not stop, nor did she turn around. She was completely immersed in the sword intent just now, so she could not hear what Long Fei was saying at all. However, yesterday, Long Fei's overbearing confession had shocked her quite a bit, because this was the first time a man confessed to her, and he was so tyrannical. As a woman, she had a kind of small happiness. Fighting arena. A disciple rushed up to the arena and shouted, "Brat, I will cripple you." As he spoke, he rushed towards Xiang Longfei. Long Fei's face sank and laughed coldly. "Come." Long Fei wins, 90.1. Long Fei wins. Long Fei wins. Continued to win as he continued to compete. It was just that, the more he fought, the more difficult it became for Long Fei to win, and he had even suffered heavy injuries in a few matches, but he clenched his teeth and endured. He also sighed secretly in his heart. God Emperor Academy is indeed God Emperor Academy. All of them are geniuses. Everyone's understanding of martial arts was different. Each of them had their own unique innate ability. He had to say it. The God Emperor Academy was truly worthy of being the #1 academy in the God's martial continent. The more Long Fei thought about it, the more extraordinary he felt the God Emperor Academy was. So many geniuses must have had a demon slayer. Long Fei thought. Long Fei wins. The referee loudly announced. Long Fei spat out a mouthful of blood, his body sinking slightly, and could not even stand steadily. The disciple in front of him was even more miserable than him, but, from the disdain in his eyes, to the admiration in his eyes. It was enough to explain everything. Boy, you win. You have a right to go chase after teacher Oya. You're a madman. Ha ha ha. He laughed excitedly. No one in the entire fighting arena mocked Long Fei, because he used his own strength to prove everything. Sun Dadu and the others were extremely excited. Too strong, too valiant, huh? Young Master Long is too amazing. At first, there were many people who mocked them, but now no one mocked them. Long Fei looked at the judge and asked, "Which round is this?" The referee smiled. He, too, admired Long Fei and said, "This is the 17th match. If you win another match, you'll be equal to 5 records." It didn't matter to Long Fei if the records weren't open. He just wanted points. Long Fei asked, "How many points do I have now?" The referee looked it up. Your current score is 999. 5 points. If you want to exchange for an official disciple, you are 0. 5 points behind. It was only 0. 5 points away. However, it was these 0. 5 points that smashed onto Long Fei's body like a mountain. He had reached his limit, the limit of the realm. If he continued this challenge, his opponent would definitely be much stronger than before. He wouldn't be able to withstand it with just his own strength. The referee smiled and said, "Go back and rest. Rest your body and come fight again." It was at this moment. Boom! A loud sound was heard from the arena as an old man landed on the ground. There was a sneer on the corner of his mouth, and his eyes were filled with contempt. Long Fei had seen this person before. I saw it in the South Horizon region. Hong Tianjuan's master was the old man who accompanied Gu Wuji, an elder of the God Emperor Academy. The person who wanted to kill Long Fei. He slowly walked to Long Fei's side, looked at him with contempt, and said coldly, "Long Fei, long time no see." Lu Yuanxian. He only had one goal in mind, revenge. Get rid of Long Fei. Chapter 725, Yin Soldier Attacks. Chapter 725, Yin Soldier Attacks. With Hong Tianjun killed, he lost the chance to be promoted. He hated Long Fei even more than Gu Wuji. He was waiting for the moment Long Fei entered the God Emperor Academy. He wanted revenge. The eyes Long Fei looked at Lu Yuanxian were similarly filled with hatred. If this fellow was not in the South Horizon region, the South Horizon region would not have ended up in such a state. Long Fei laughed coldly. It's really been a while. Their eyes met, and the smell of gunpowder permeated the air. The surrounding disciples did not notice. No wonder he knows Elder Lu. What does Elder Lu want to do by jumping onto the arena? You aren't thinking of challenging Long Fei, right? Long Fei is currently severely injured. If it was another match, forget about Elder Lu. Even ordinary arrogant immortal state disciples would not be able to handle him. The people around them began to whisper. Lu Yuanxian looked at Long Fei and mocked, "Little bastard Long family, do you dare to accept my challenge?" This time, not only did he want revenge, he also valued the 999. 5 points on Long Fei's body. Points were good things to an elder. Long Fei's gaze darkened. The judge said slightly, "Elder Lu, Long Fei has already been injured to such an extent, he no longer has the strength to fight. Just now, he also said that he would like to break off the battle, recuperate from his injuries, and then come to fighting arena." Scram! Lu Yuanxian glanced at the referee coldly and said, "Did I allow you to speak?" The face of the referee changed. The gap between his position and that of an elder was too big. Since Lu Yuanxian was a disciple of the Heavenly Hall of Immortals S, his identity was very special. He didn't dare to offend her. Without waiting for Long Fei to speak, Lu Yuanxian sneered and said, "Scared? Isn't your Long family afraid of the heavens or the earth?" Lu Yuanxian said in a weird tone, "I'm afraid you can do it too. Kneel down and kowtow. Admit your wrongs, admit your fear, and admit that everyone in the South Horizon region is trash. I will spare your life." He was extremely pleased with himself. Sun Datu and the rest rushed to the bottom of the arena and said, "Long Fei, you can't fight anymore. Your body can no longer take it. Long Fei, you can't fight anymore." Many people on the fighting arena began to discuss softly. He's from the South Horizon region. Isn't the South Horizon region a wasteland? In the past 100 years, no one in the Southern Domain has ever been able to enter God Emperor Academy, and even he is only a service disciple. He's a disciple of the Long family? Didn't the Long family suffer a calamity and never recover? The South Horizon region was a wasteland. This was publicly acknowledged. He was also the target of ridicule from the warriors of other regions, just like how everyone just now had ridiculed the service disciple, Long Fei. The South Horizon region was not a good place to be. Hearing the discussions around him, Long Fei's gaze turned cold. Lu Yuanxian's name appeared on the list of names for the dead in his mind. He swore that if anyone dared to say that the people in the South Horizon region were trash, they would die. Long Fei smiled slightly and said, "How do you want to compete?" "Ha ha!" The Lu Yuanxian laughed wildly in satisfaction and thought to himself, "Trash is trash. They get angry just by being provoked." Lu Yuanxian said, "Naturally, we will bet everything." Long Fei said, "All right, then I'll bet everything." At this time, Lu Yuanxian thought of the giant demon that Long Fei had summoned and immediately said, "Long Fei, this is the God Emperor Academy. You won't summon that giant demon outright? Of course, you can also summon them. That way you will become the public enemy of the God Emperor Academy at that time." Not waiting for him to finish, Long Fei laughed. "Are you afraid?" Lu Yuanxian's expression became serious. He was indeed afraid of the giant demon that Long Fei had summoned. Right now, he was just a virtual immortal stage. The strength of that giant demon was at least a golden immortal rank. He was simply not a match for it. Long Fei said, "If you are afraid, kneel down and kowtow. Admit your wrongs. Say that you are a son of a B***. Remember to speak loudly, so that the entire fighting arena will hear you." The muscles at the corner of Lu Yuanxian's eyes started to twitch. He stared at Long Fei and said solemnly, "Brat, don't be too arrogant." Long Fei laughed in disdain. "I'm sorry. This is how arrogant I am. Bite me." Lu Yuanxian squinted his eyes, suddenly moved. He rushed out and shouted, "Die." Long Fei stood in place without moving. With a playful cold smile on his face, he ordered, "Do it." To deal with Lu Yuanxian, none of the 10 Long Fei's were his match. However, since the other party was bullying him, how could he not fight? Naturally, they had to fight, and he was going to ruthlessly crush him and slap his face. Long Fei ordered. 4 soldiers rushed out from the Yellow Springs summoning seal. They were all virtual immortals stage S, and their cultivations were no weaker than Lu Yuanxian's. The moment Lu Yuanxian moved, the 4 ghost soldiers beside him immediately moved, the 2 of them grabbing onto their hands and legs. Tightly binding Lu Yuanxian, he was completely unable to move. Lu Yuanxian continued to struggle, his brows knitted tightly, and the power of the virtual immortal stage in his body continued to burst out. "Not all. Not at all. What's going on? Long Fei, what did you do?" Lu Yuanxian bellowed. Long Fei's neck released a cracking sound. His fingers moved and created another burst of cracking sounds. He slowly walked to Lu Yuanxian's side, looked at his angry expression, raised his hand high into the air, and ruthlessly slapped down. "Pah!" It was incomparably loud. Lu Yuanxian did not resist at all. All the disciples of the fighting arena were shocked. Lu Yuanxian was also furious. "Long Fei, you dare hit me? You dog!" "Pah!" With a backhand slap, Long Fei sneered, "The one I'm hitting is you." "Pah! Pah!" A few consecutive slaps, and each slap was more ferocious than the previous one, causing Lu Yuanxian to become even more furious. He continuously struggled, but was restrained by 4 powerful forces, waiting for Long Fei to say, "What exactly did you do?" At the scene, other than Long Fei, no one could see the 4 ghost soldiers grabbing onto Lu Yuanxian. "Lu Yuanxian, are you feeling good?" Long Fei slapped down again and said, "Isn't that great? Are the people from the South Horizon region trash?" King speak up for lousy." Long Fei was enraged. The power of his palm flashed with lightning, and he released the power of his lightning immortal root. "Speak." You won't tell me, right? Pa! As the lightning palms struck down, Lu Yuanxian's face was in extreme pain, and even his cheeks were splitting apart. You won't tell me, right? Long Fei laughed. He stared at Lu Yuanxian's lower body, and his expression became gloomy. Lu Yuanxian's pupils trembled, and he immediately asked, Long Fei, what are you planning to do? I'll tell you. I say, the people of the South Horizon region aren't trash. You aren't trash either. It was men who were afraid that their second brother would be ruined. Lu Yuanxian was no exception. Long Fei's expression retracted, and said, They say you're a son of a bitch. Lu Yuanxian was so angry that smoke was leaking out from the top of his head, and he said, Long Fei, don't get too ahead of yourself. You're only a service disciple. I am an elder if you dare to anger me. Not waiting for him to finish, Long Fei lifted his leg and kicked it out. Chapter 726, Cloud Ranking Rank 1. Chapter 726, Cloud Ranking Rank 1A. Oh! A pig-slaughtering howl rang out. Clenching his legs, Lu Yuanxian's eyes became white. The pain caused his entire body to tremble, and he stepped down. No matter how strong you are, these were all malehood dores. The pain of the egg cracking was too unbearable. All the disciples of Fighting Arena took in a breath of cold air. Their chrysanthemums tightened, and their legs naturally reacted to tighten by a little bit. You won't tell me, right? Long Fei shouted once more as the four Go soldiers laughed heartily and pulled Lu Yuanxian up. Long Fei raised his right leg and laughed coldly. Lu Yuanxian was about to cry. I'll say, I'm a son of a bitch. Hee, only now. Too late. Long Fei's right leg spasmed, fiercely kicking him. This old man will make you feel good to the heavens. This kick is to avenge the people who died in the Heaven Sect. Bam! This kick is for the people of the South Horizon region. Bam! This kick is for the Long family. Bam! There's no reason for this kick. I just wanted to kick you until you exploded. Long Fei kicked him a few times. Other than screaming, Lu Yuanxian could not let out anything else. His face was in pain, his thighs were already badly mutilated, and the pain was so excruciating that it seemed like he was numb. The two old eggs that he had left behind for decades were finally finished, stared at him coldly, and said softly, If this place wasn't God Emperor Academy, you would be dead already. It was true. If it weren't for the God Emperor Academy, and if it weren't for the fact that Long Fei was in a rush to obtain 1,000 points to exchange for an official disciple position, he really would have killed Lu Yuanxian. Lu Yuanxian fell to the ground like a dead dog, his body constantly twitching. Although he was not dead, he was basically crippled. At this moment, the referee walked up and said, Long Fei wins. Points accumulated, 1,230 points. Long Fei glanced at Lu Yuanxian, who was on the ground, and said in an extremely disdainful manner, Damn, 230 points. Puffed. Ha! Victory! Young Master Long won against the Elder. Ha ha! Tie with Fighting Arena's record, winning 18 consecutive rounds in 2 days. It's just too amazing. The number one person in God Emperor Academy. Young Master Long is mighty. The God Emperor Academy had many rankings. Amongst them, the Wind and Cloud leaderboard had the greatest influence. The next day, Long Fei's name appeared at the top of the school's Wind Cloud list. Servant disciples have won 18 consecutive rounds, clearing the school's history. Servant disciples have heavily injured Elder Lu of Virtual Immortal stage, making it an unprecedented record. Servant disciple Long Fei used his strength to play around with the reputation of being a piece of trash in the South Horizon region. The service disciple Long Fei was the first to enter the God Emperor Academy in the Southern Domain within 100 years. He is known as the number one person in the Southern Domain. The Academy was filled with discussion about Long Fei. Although the first 17 matches could be said to not be of much importance, the weight of Lu Yuanxian, who had fought against the Virtual Immortal stage in the final match, could be said to be extremely heavy. Furthermore, Lu Yuanxian did not even have the strength to counterattack. It was as if he had been struck by Long Fei's imprisoning magic. The whole of God Emperor Academy was shocked. Terrifying. Profound College of Martial Arts Training. Ha ha. Boss is powerful, just mighty. I knew that no matter where you are, you would be able to soar into the sky because you are a dragon. Chun Tianfei carried a huge boulder on his shoulder, and beneath him was a sharp blade. Ever since he had entered the profound College of Martial Arts Training, he had been constantly being punished by Xiao Tianwu. He had never received any cultivation resources, nor had any instructors ever taught him anything, so he did not complain. No matter what punishment Xiao Tianwu gave him, he did not complain at all, as though he was a different person, because he was waiting for Long Fei's rise. Hearing that Long Fei had won 18 consecutive rounds and defeated the Academy Elder, Fatty Chin was extremely excited. Boss is about to take off. I have to go all out too. Finished. As if he had gone mad, Fatty Chin stopped the holy armor fairy vein on his body and dropped straight into the abyss of the blade, using the blade to train his defense. He wanted to activate the holy armor fairy vein's power again. College of War Martial Arts. Xiaoing was jumping around like a little sparrow, laughing out loud. Young Master Long is mighty. Young Master Long is domineering. Man Toaluo, from his spirit poison hole, walked out from the poison pill room. With a smile on his face, he looked at the sky and muttered, "Hurry and soar into the sky." Law Enforcement Agency. 19 clasped his hands behind his back and smiled faintly. I've really done it. That's right. Very good. This way you can become an official disciple. The rest will depend on which college of martial arts training will accept you, but his smile suddenly turned cold. Immediately after, his idea moved, and a spirit sword on his body flew out, piercing through the sky and entering the outer space palace. Supreme God also became excited. 18 consecutive victories. Although it is not as heavy as Long Zhanting's initial strength, their cultivations are not on the same level. Fighting Arena's record of 18 consecutive victories was maintained by a person called Nameless. This nameless person was Long Zhanting. The name Long Zhanting entered the God Emperor Academy back then wasn't Long Zhanting, and no one knew that he was from the Southern Domain. Even more so, no one knew that he came from the Long family. All of his information records in God Emperor Academy were erased. The Supreme God laughed coldly and said, Long Zhanting, your son might have been able to accomplish something that you failed to do back then. Huh? Just you wait. The secret treasure of the Dragon Clan must be mine. Supreme God was excited. Long Fei followed his plan and walked out step by step. Right now, what Long Fei wanted to do was to find the secret of the Dragon Head Chinquan map, right? Supreme God's eyes shook as he muttered to himself. A dragon's head is a dragon's head, which is also the dragon's head of the dragon race. What is it hiding? Long Fei, I can't wait any longer. The Supreme God idea moved and said to 19 with a sound transmission, no need to intervene. He's relying on his own strength. Too much intervention can backfire. The last time it was with Long Zhanting, the consequence was explosive. What he wanted was the result, and he didn't care about the process at all. Moreover, when the Supreme God saw something different on Long Zhanting, Long Fei was even more eager than Long Zhanting to understand the hidden secrets behind the disappearance of the dragon. Long Fei, don't let me down. Don't be like your disobedient father, or else. Supreme God's eyes carried a trace of gloominess. Servants' quarters. Long Fei rested for an entire day, and only after consuming a dozen or so medicinal pellets did his injury stabilize. Every disciple in the service yard looked at him with fiery eyes. They did not speak for a long time. Sun Data looked at Long Fei and asked, what do you plan to do now? Long Fei said, we will exchange them for the identities of official disciples and then join the College of War Martial Arts. Chapter 727. One Person's College of Martial Arts Training, Rogue Cultivator. Chapter 727. One Person's College of Martial Arts Training, Rogue Cultivator. After becoming an official disciple, he would have to join a college of martial arts training. Had already decided on the College of War Martial Arts a long time ago. and it was because of Aoya. Long Fei wanted to finish this mission quickly and also get his hands on the task reward as soon as possible. He wanted to see what the reward for this mission was and what kind of hero skill it was. Fan Tong said excitedly. He's too handsome. So handsome that he looks like dregs. Sun Dato slightly said. Exchange for an official disciple is really easy. You can exchange for anything with points, but if you want to join the College of War Martial Arts, I'm afraid that would be a little difficult. Long Fei asked. What do you mean? Sun Dato said. I've learned about it in the past 2 days. You're the only service disciple in the history of God Emperor Academy who is able to exchange for the qualifications to become an official disciple. Because there is no precedent, it is hard to say if all 18 generations of College of Martial Arts training will accept you. It was not something that the College of Martial Arts training would want just to become an official disciple. Even without College of Martial Arts training, it was useless, just like an unspecialized disciple. There wasn't even a place to stay. The Sun Datu continued. Moreover, you have injured Elder Liu. Based on a relationship between Elder Liu and the profound College of Martial Arts Training's principal, Xiao Qianwu, I'm worried that no College of Martial Arts Training would dare to shelter you. Also, many elders knew Long Fei's name. The incident with the Pan clan a while ago had made the Pan clan extremely unhappy, as there was still a demon slayer in the Tong Tian Hall of Immortals. Although the Pan family could not enter the God Emperor Academy, their power and influence still existed. With this relationship, even more College of Martial Arts Training would not dare to accept Long Fei. Pan Sheng had already said that when he came out of seclusion, it would be the time of Long Fei's death. The Pan family, Xiao Tianwu, and the Heavenly Fairy Hall elder behind him, let alone the God Emperor Academy, no one would even dare to offend them in Heavenly Hall of Immortals. Long Fei's heart trembled slightly, and he did not say a word. In the afternoon, Long Fei went to the God Emperor Academy's points exchange hall alone. There was a huge black stone projection in the hall with points on it. Looking at the items on it, as long as you had enough points, you could exchange for anything. Damn, even immortal stage divine equipment as do exist. Immortal trapping rope. Linglong treasure pagoda. Battle beast Qilin points for 30,000 points. Long Fei was secretly speechless. The God Emperor Academy's points exchange was just like his exchange system. There were even some things that he did not have in the exchange system, and they were even more expensive. Long Fei thought about the trading shop in the system, took a glance at the pitiful points and muttered, so poor. The items that Long Fei had dropped were all swallowed by Yin Huang and his father, making it impossible for them to increase in size. Using points to exchange for something was simply a pipe dream. Long Fei walked to the exchange window, handed over his service disciple identity badge, and said, I want to exchange for official disciple status. The little sister's eyes were wide open as she looked at Long Fei and asked, You are Long Fei? Are you that man who won 18 matches and dared to confess to Teacher Oya? Long Fei did not know that he had already caused a stir in the God Emperor Academy, and muttered to himself, Have I become famous to this extent? Sigh. As expected of a handsome person, he's forever unable to block the radiance radiating from all directions. Long Fei became narcissistic. The little junior sister apprentice's face was filled with worship. Can you give me an autograph? Long Fei laughed. Of course. With a wave of his large brush, the name Madgrass, Long Fei made Long Fei feel very satisfied. The little junior sister apprentice also quickly finished converting for Long Fei and passed the new identity board to him, saying, This is a bronze identity board. You are now an official disciple of God Emperor Academy. Congratulations, senior fellow apprentice. Long Fei received the wooden tablet and said, Thank you. An official disciple was a bronze wooden tablet. The senior disciples were silver, while the elite disciples were gold. The higher the status wooden tablet, the more different it was. The little junior sister apprentice was excited. Senior fellow apprentice, you have to join College of War Martial Arts. That way, you and teacher Ao, you can be together every day. Her face was full of envy, and her heart was filled with jealousy. When will anyone confess to me in such a tyrannical manner like him? Long Fei took his identity badge and directly walked towards the College of War Martial Arts. He had cleaned all 18 generations of College of Martial Arts training before, so he was very familiar with the road. 20 minutes later, he arrived at the entrance of College of War Martial Arts. Servant disciples are not allowed to enter. A gatekeeping disciple blocked Long Fei's path because Long Fei was still wearing the clothes of a service disciple. Long Fei took out the bronze wooden tablet. The guard disciple's face slightly changed and immediately said, "So it's senior fellow apprentice. Junior brother has a bad eye. Please forgive me." Completely different, his expression instantly changed. This was the difference in status. Long Fei laughed bitterly in his heart. Long Fei walked into the College of War Martial Arts, and before Long Fei could even reach the courtyard of the principal, he was stopped by an elder who said, "The College of War Martial Arts is already full. There are no seats left. Please leave." Long Fei was startled for a moment and said, "I haven't even said anything, and you already know what I'm doing?" The elder laughed coldly and said, "Is it important to say it or not? I just don't want you to waste my time. Please leave." Many disciples of the College of War Martial Arts looked at Long Fei with eyes spitting fire. They were very unhappy. It was because Long Fei had desecrated the goddess in their hearts. They all treated Long Fei as their archenemy. In the distance, Aoya stood there quietly, looking at Long Fei, her face expressionless. "Scram! Get out of College of War Martial Arts. Get out!" Many disciples hooted. They were extremely unhappy with Long Fei. Long Fei looked at the elders and disciples and said slightly, "One day, you will kneel before me and beg me." Ha! Ha ha! Everyone laughed out loud. "Brat, do you think that you're amazing just because you won 18 matches? That was only the 18th match of the first grade. Do you think you're very strong? Please, if you really take yourself seriously, then why don't you take a piss and try your best to act on your own merits? Get out." Long Fei's gaze swept across them as he smiled. "I'll remember what you've said today." He turned around and left. Aoya's eyes slightly moved. She sighed in her heart. "Ai, what a pity." In the spiritual poison hall. Scram! There are no more resources here. The battle arena courtyard. I'm sorry, it's already full. In the War Beast courtyard. Kid, people like you are not needed here. War Device Academy. Scram! None of the 18 great matrial halls took Long Fei in. At this time, Long Fei suddenly realized something. He looked at the sky and laughed coldly in his heart. "Pan Clan? Guwuji? Do you think you can stop me just like that? Your obstacles will only make me stronger." Long Fei secretly clenched his fists. "Since you don't want me, then I will create my own College of Martial Arts Training, the 18th generation of College of Martial Arts Training. Then let your father crush them one by one." Chapter 728, God's Fire Troopers. Chapter 728, God's Fire Troopers in the afternoon. Other than the Azure Dragon, White Tiger, Vermilion Bird, and Black Tortoise of 4 matrial halls, the other 10 4 matrial halls all rejected Long Fei's offer to join them. A humiliating rejection. Long Fei was a vengeful person. He would remember every single person who mocked and humiliated him. Just you wait. Long Fei returned to the service courtyard. The Sun Dadu had already returned. Seeing Long Fei walk into the courtyard, he immediately ran over and asked, "How's the matter of joining the College of Martial Arts Training going?" Long Fei shook his head and said, "It's just as you said. There's no reason for anyone to take me in." The Sun Dadu sighed, then said, "Even 18 great matrial halls has to act based on how you look. Wounding Lu Yuanxian is equivalent to offending Elder Gu Wuji, who is a heavenly hall of immortals. Taking you in is equivalent to offending a heavenly hall of immortals, so no one would dare to offend the heavenly hall of immortals." Other than Gu Wuji, there was also the Pan Clan. These two forces wielded great influence in the God Emperor Academy. Long Fei also understood in his heart. 18 great matrial halls rejected him, but he didn't care. He looked at Sun Dadu and said, "Leader Sun, if I want to establish my own College of Martial Arts Training, Is there any way? Ah! Sun Data's expression changed as he looked at Long Fei in shock, as if he hadn't heard clearly, and said, "What did you say?" Long Fei said, "I want to establish the College of Martial Arts Training." Sun Data was stunned. Create a College of Martial Arts Training? It needs the approval of the headmaster and the Elder Pavilion personally, and it also requires the support of a strong power. The most basic point is that you need the points in your 100,000 points to request for the establishment of the College of Martial Arts Training S. These are all too difficult. The establishment of the College of Martial Arts Training was not that simple. It needs too much. Moreover, even if you have points in 100,000 points, you need to have the approval of the higher-ups. Building a College of Martial Arts Training is too difficult. Long Fei secretly shivered in his heart. "Are you saying you have 100,000 points? The Sun Data said, slightly. "Long Fei, wait a little longer. After this storm passes, perhaps only the College of Martial Arts Training will be able to take you in. After all, if you can win 18 consecutive rounds, if you can still win against Lu Yuanxian, the College of Martial Arts Training will definitely have his eyes on you." Long Fei smiled faintly, and he knew that it was the Sun Datu who was comforting him and Mitchum at night. Long Fei did not cultivate any further. He laid on the bed and looked at the ceiling, his mind continuously thinking about what would happen next. Gu Wuji, the Pan family, has been suppressing him nonstop. If he wanted to rise up, he had to step on them. If he wanted to step on them, he had to become stronger, and level up was crucial. Starting tomorrow, I'll level up like crazy. Long Fei clenched his fists and made up his mind. Everything else was fake, the only level. This world is a world of the strong. As long as you are strong, others will respect you and fear you. Early morning, as soon as the sky brightened, Long Fei arrived at the God Emperor Academy's quest hall. Spirit Poison Master, do you have a senior fellow apprentice from the Spirit Poison Academy? Our team is in urgent need of a Poison Master, B class, 80 points, 5 people to split it evenly. Do you have a senior fellow apprentice from the battle school that urgently needs an inscription master? I'm at the 6th level of the crazy immortal realm. I'm in the requesting battle team. Selling various mission items, exchange points. I've sold all sorts of quest guides. They are definitely genuine. If the guides are wrong, you can come back and attack me. Long Fei thought that he had woken up early, but there were a lot of people who arrived before him. Because the quest hall refreshed every day, and simple quests would be accepted the moment they were refreshed. If you were late to the quest hall, you would not even have a fart for quests below level C. Long Fei walked into the quest hall. The C-grade mission was swept clean. There are only a few B-level missions, and none of them were suitable for him. As for the A-class mission, it would be impossible for a single person to complete it. He needed a team. Long Fei thought to himself, if only Fatty, Xiaoying, Mantaluo, and the others were here, then they could form a team. I wonder how they're doing now. Suddenly, the disciples in the mission hall were discussing amongst themselves. God's Fire Troopers is here. Wow. The 19th super team from the God Emperor Academy auction. All of the members in the team are senior disciples of the virtual immortal stage. If only I could enter the God's Fire Troopers. Stop dreaming. Why don't you take a piss? You can even join the God's Fire Troopers, and the sow will have to climb the tree. The crowd was in an uproar. 6 men wearing special clothes walked into the mission hall. The armband on their chest was a ball of fire that fell from the sky. It was the symbol of the God's Fire Troopers. Amongst the 6 of them, there was also a woman. She was dressed in revealing clothes, and her eyes held a look of disdain from her superior. Many of the disciples were attracted by the place she exposed herself. His eyeballs were about to pop out. They did not even realize that a strong man had eyes like he was eating people. A sturdy man from the God's Fire Troopers slapped down. Have you seen enough? Let's go home and take a look. The slap caused blood to spurt out from his mouth. Those people immediately looked away. The alluring woman chuckled and said, "Big guy, you're being too gentle." The big man looked back at the woman. "Sister, you have to be a bit heavier next time." He was extremely arrogant. Moreover, the surrounding people didn't dare to look at them again. God's Fire Troopers was famous for being fierce, Provoking them was no different from provoking a death god. One look at them would bring about unnecessary trouble. Long Fei looked at the missions scrolling around in the hall and did not spare that bewitching senior sister a glance. You get lost. The sturdy man looked at Long Fei coldly. Long Fei didn't pay any attention to him. As if she hadn't heard, at this time, the bewitching senior sister walked over to Long Fei and said, "Little junior brother, why aren't you looking at me? Am I not good looking?" Long Fei smiled slightly and said, "Of course senior sister looks good." The senior sister Yao Yin said, "If I look good, then why don't you look at me?" Long Fei asked, "Why do you have to look at me like that? No one has a rule that people who look good must look more?" Yao Yin was stunned for a moment and said, "You're right. No one has a rule that people who look good should look more. But I'm different. I want others to look good. If you don't look at me, then I'm not good looking." Long Fei was not interested in continuing to argue with her. He earnestly looked at her and said, "I've seen. Can you leave?" At this moment, the big guy standing behind him had already slapped his face down and said in a deep voice, "Who told you to look at my senior sister?" She looked at the big guy and said, "You have to use more strength this time." Long Fei frowned, his right arm moved, his heart was enraged, and he shouted, "Golden Dragon Arm Guard." His right arm blocked it. A slap came down. Chapter 729, Level B Mission. Chapter 729. Level B Mission. The strength behind his palm was extremely strong. Moreover, the big guy was very obedient. He had used 80% of his strength just because of how much strength Yao Yin had given him. 80% of the virtual immortal stage's power. This was a tempo that could blast others to death. Bam! Long Fei's body moved to the side and continuously retreated, his arms becoming numb and his heart becoming unhappy. The big bloke's palm felt even more uncomfortable. It was as though he had slapped a steel plate. His 5 fingers were splitting apart, and his entire arm was in incomparable pain. He was infuriated. "You actually dare to block me. You're courting death." At this moment, another disciple said anxiously, "Senior Marshal Sister, the mission we were about to accept has disappeared." Yao Yan's face immediately changed and shouted, "Who dares to snatch the mission from me?" While they were talking, she strode to the task window. The big size man also retracted his finger. He stared at Long Fei and said fiercely, "Brat, just you wait." He followed her. Long Fei did not pay attention to this. He studied the mission carefully, but he could not find anything suitable for him. Regardless of all that, I can just accept any mission. He also walked to the mission window and handed over his identity plate and level mission. The staff member checked and said, "Your level is not high enough to accept an A-class mission. Do you have a team?" Long Fei shook his head and said no. That person replied, "Then there's no other way. If you want to receive an A-grade mission alone, you need to have the identity of an advanced disciple." "Then what kind of missions can I accept with my current level?" Long Fei asked. That person replied, "At your current level, you can only take missions below the C grade. It seems that there are no missions below the C grade today. You can come back tomorrow." Long Fei was speechless. Table of contents on the other side. That senior sister Yao Yin was so angry that her chest was trembling and was about to burst her clothes. "You dare to snatch the mission from me. Just you wait." This is so infuriating. Looking at her expression, Zhang Xian felt as though his lungs were about to burst from anger. The crowd started whispering to each other. "That is an A-class mission of Immortal City. I heard that the God's fire troopers had prepared for this mission for a month. I never expected that someone would beat me to it. Who dares to snatch the mission from the God's fire troopers? Isn't this courting death? Who knows? However, not just any person would dare to take the Immortal City mission. I heard that the Immortal City is filled with dark creatures that won't die. That's because there's an immortal soul treasure inside." Zhouren began to discuss in a low voice. At this moment, there were 2 people standing beside Long Fei, and one of them was Wang Qingshan. Seeing Long Fei, Wang Qingshan immediately went forward to welcome him and said, "Brother Long, do you want to form a team? I just accepted a class mission. Do you want to come with me?" One of the disciples standing beside him looked at Long Fei in disdain. Regarding Long Fei, Wang Qingshan had already let go of his resentment. More importantly, after Wang Qingshan lost, Teacher Oya's words to him made him admire Long Fei. Long Fei's level was not high, but his comprehension of the way of the sword was above his. With regards to people with high comprehension in the way of the sword, Wang Qingshan would be filled with respect and admiration. Seeing that Long Fei did not receive a mission, he took the initiative to walk forward and invite him. Long Fei said, "Do you guys still need more people?" The disciple beside Wang Qingshan said coldly, "It's full." Wang Qingshan glanced at him, then immediately laughed. "There's still one more person. If you join, that would be perfect. Divide the points equally. If you gain something else from a mission, you can give it to whoever is suitable. If it's not, you can sell it. The points, the fairy stones, will also be divided equally. What do you think?" Long Fei needed the mission. He needed it greatly, and said, "Then, thank you, senior fellow apprentice Wang." Wang Qingshan laughed. "You're too courteous. You could just call me Qingshan. There's still 3 senior fellow apprentices waiting outside. I'll take you to see them." A team was like a team in a game. Whether it was clearing the instance dungeon or defeating the boss, he needed to cooperate. In the game, every team needed a cleric, warrior, and mage. Every team had their own division of labor. Long Fei walked out of the mission hall. Wang Qingshan introduced him in a familiar manner. "Spirit Poison Master Zhou Ling, Array Master Zheng Qingsong. This junior sister apprentice is a college of martial arts training with me. His name is Yang Luoshui. You have met this Meng Cheng before." And then Wang Qingshan then introduced them. "This is Long Fei, the one who won 18 consecutive rounds." Zhou Ling and Zheng Qingsong were startled. Both of them revealed an expression of excitement. Yang Luoshui and Meng Cheng's eyes flashed with a look of despise. Yang Luoshui said coldly, "Senior fellow apprentice, aren't we looking for a beast master? Where are you finding a service disciple that you don't even want from 18 great matrial halls for?" Wang Qingshan laughed. "I didn't find a suitable beast master. I know Brother Long. He must be very strong." "Humph, powerful. If it's strong, would the 18 great matrial halls not accept it?" Meng Cheng sarcastically said, "Brother Wang, if it wasn't for this mission, I would definitely not be in the same squad as a service disciple." Zheng Qingsong slightly said, "Harmony, harmony, harmony is the most important." Zhou Ling also added, "The mission is the most important. I only lack the points for this mission to be exchanged for a poison scripture." And then he looked at Long Fei and said, "Brother Long, 18 consecutive victories are truly powerful, but the fighting is a battle and the mission is a mission. I hope that everyone will retreat and follow the instructions. If there is any mistake and we do not complete the mission, I will not hold back." The atmosphere became stiffer and stiffer. Long Fei looked at Wang Qingshan and said, "Senior fellow apprentice Wang, I think I should still." Wang Qingshan immediately said, "Brother Long, if you withdraw, then don't treat me, Wang Qingshan, as a brother anymore. Teacher Ao, you had said before, she wants me to learn from you. Let's go. Our mission this time isn't too hard." Without waiting for Long Fei to refuse, Wang Qingshan had already pulled Long Fei back. The mission was accepted by Wang Qingshan. He had absolute authority. Long Fei exhaled in his heart and thought, "I want to become stronger quickly. I want to create my own team. If only Li Yuanba and the others are here. I wonder how they're doing now. Lang Qinli is still not back. Nothing will happen to him, right?" The 4 King Kong were all in the South Horizon region. If they were here, in addition to Chun Tianfei's super tank, they would be a super team. The group of 6 walked towards the teleportation array. At this time, the 6 from God's Fire Troopers were also by the teleportation circle. The bewitching senior sister was still angry as she said, "Stealing missions from me. I will toy with him to death. Go to the immortal city." When the teleportation array opened, a ray of Xuanabai's light enveloped the 6 of them. A few seconds later, they disappeared. Long Fei and the others walked to the center of the array. "Senior fellow apprentice Wang, what kind of mission are we on?" Wang Qingshan said, "Our mission is very simple. Find the ruins of the immortal sect, set the coordinates, and we will be done with setting up the teleportation circle." Immortal sect. Chapter 730, Immortal Demon Beast. Chapter 730, Immortal Demon Beast. A white light flashed. Long Fei felt as if he had fallen into a space tunnel as he continuously traveled back and forth. A transmission array was a cultivation method of the space laws. By cultivating a formation to an extremely high level, one could refine a teleportation array. The distance of tens of millions of kilometers was covered in just a few minutes. After Long Fei landed on the ground, he looked at the ancient formation beneath his feet and was slightly shocked. It was as if he had seen the patterns of this formation somewhere before. Zheng Qingsong looked at Long Fei's doubtful expression and said, "This formation is a primitive formation and wasn't created by the God Emperor Academy's elders. So it's a little different from the God Emperor Academy's formation." Long Fei said, "How do different formations establish connections?" Meng Cheng could not help but sneer and said, "Do you understand the power of the spatial laws? It would be a waste of words if I told you that I don't understand." Zheng Qingsong laughed. "This is indeed a type of spatial law force. I have not cultivated it to that level, so I am unable to explain to you. There are many of these kinds of primordial teleportation formations in the God's martial continent. I heard from the elders of the War Formation Hall that these formations existed millions of years ago, and it seems to be some kind of battle outpost. In the past, this formation was not used to teleport people, but to observe things. In this world, very few people knew of this formation, because this formation came from the Dragon Clan. These formations were built millions of years ago when the dragon race was dominating. At that time, the powers of these formations were extremely powerful and could reach into the heavens. They could sense the fluctuations from another plane billions of kilometers away. These formations were set up to prepare defenses and defend against the invasion of an expert from another plane. However, these formations were still useless. They still hadn't been able to withstand the dragonkind's tribulation. After millions of years, these array formations had become weaker and weaker. Later, a super inscription master rearranged these array formations and transformed them into the current transmission array. Wang Qingshan said slightly, "The immortal sect is within the undying mountain range. Everyone must be careful. If the demon beast can avoid it, then avoid it. If they can't, then fight again. Do you understand?" Yang Luoxue looked at Long Fei and said, "Servant disciple, do you understand?" Long Fei did not speak. He was still thinking about the teleportation formation, and that familiar feeling became even stronger. "Where have I seen it before?" "Where is it?" Wang Qingshan shouted. "Let's go." The six of them quickly entered the mountain. It was unknown whether it was on purpose or because they wanted to finish the mission as soon as possible, but with Meng Cheng leading the way, his speed was exceptionally fast. Her cultivation was at least an entire realm higher than Long Fei's. Meng Cheng looked at Long Fei, who was behind the cushion, and sneered in his heart. "Let's see how long you can hold out for." Heaven's flow steps. Meng Cheng's speed increased once again. Long Fei followed behind them and maintained a fixed distance. He did not care about how fast they were, nor did he care about the consumption of power of Celestial. Anyway, this had nothing to do with him, because the Golden Dragon Master was helping him run. In his mind, he was still thinking about the ancient array formation. Blood Dragon. Does this array formation come from the dragon race? The Blood Dragon ancestor became excited and said, "Big Brother Azure Dragon told me not to say. He said that you have to walk on your own path." F***CK. Long Fei fiercely cursed. "Azure Dragon, are you even human? You deserve to be seal among the powder tripod." Yin Huang ancestor smiled slightly. "Brat, someone wants to use up your strength and power of Celestial." "Huh?" Long Fei asked. "Who is it?" At this moment, Long Fei suddenly realized that the reason Meng Cheng ran so fast was because he wanted to make things difficult for him. "Ruh, you want to embarrass me?" Long Fei tensed up and thought, then let's see who will be the one to be embarrassed in the end. He did not surpass anyone else and followed closely behind. An hour passed. He did not fall even half a step. 2 hours passed. 3 hours passed. Seeing Long Fei still following closely behind and taking a pellet, he gritted his teeth and continued to persevere. Long Fei reminded them, should we rest for a while? Meng Cheng immediately mocked. What? Are you tired? As expected of a service disciple, you're already tired after such a short period of time. If you want to rest, then rest by yourself. I still want to finish the mission earlier. Meng Cheng started to feel proud. Boy, you won't be able to hold on much longer. Long Fei shrugged his shoulders and said, all right, I don't mind. I'm just afraid that some people won't be able to take it. Yang Luo Shui said, who wouldn't be able to take it? We are all at arrogant, immortal state level, and only you are at spiritual level. Furthermore, you have always been at the back, so I think you cannot handle it. Long Fei laughed and said, then let's continue. Another 2 hours passed. The arrogant immortal state's value was indeed a little thick, but that was compared to normal warriors. But what about Long Fei? His power of celestial was more valuable than the Berserker immortal peak realm. So why would he waste his power of celestial? Until now, he had not consumed a single bit of the power of celestial. Huff, huff, huff. Yang Luo Shui was already panting like an ox. Meng Cheng's speed had slowed down by more than half. His face had also turned slightly pale. This was a sign that his power of celestial was about to dry up. Hurry up. Continue. Long Fei urged. Meng Cheng disdainfully thought to himself, I don't believe I can't step on you. Another acceleration. Another hour passed. At this time, Yang Luo Shui was no longer able to do it. Her pubes was already exhausted without the slightest bit of power of celestial. Meng Cheng's face turned pale white. Both Wang Qingshan and Zheng Qingsong were also exhausted. Unable to hold on any longer, they ran too fast, and had exhausted too much of their power of celestial. Plop! Yang Luo Shui fell to the ground and said, I can't. My power of celestial is already exhausted. He couldn't hold on any longer. He couldn't hold on for much longer, even when he was on pills. Long Fei didn't even have a drop of sweat on his forehead. He looked at Meng Cheng and said, Senior brother, continue. Why are you getting slower and slower? This won't do. Long Fei ruthlessly humiliated him. Want to embarrass him? Who will be embarrassed now? Meng Cheng could not hold on any longer. He stared at Long Fei, who was so embarrassed that he became angry. He took a step forward and shouted, Brat, are you courting death? Wang Qingshan immediately stopped Meng Cheng and said, Brother Meng, don't be angry. Long Fei said, It's you who said that we must complete the mission quickly. You should run now. Why aren't you running anymore? Long Fei was also unhappy. Zheng Qingsong gasped for breath. Harmony. Harmony. We need to be harmonious. Wang Qingshan said, Long Fei, don't say too much. Right now, everyone has pretty much exhausted their power of celestial, so we should rest here and wait for power of celestial to recover before departing. Not waiting for him to finish. A pair of green eyes stared down at the 6 of them from a high vantage point. Demon Beast. It was an incomparably large demon beast. The demon beast body was emitting a deathly aura. Undying demon beast in the immortal mountain range. Chapter 731, Explosive. Chapter 731, Explosive. There's a demon beast. Hell Bullhead. Defend. Quick defend. Suddenly, Wang Qingshan shouted loudly. It was just that. Their reactions could not keep up at all, because the power of celestial in their bodies were almost completely exhausted. Even if they could react in their minds, their bodies would not be able to keep up. The power of celestial was like the gasoline of a car. Without gas, how would your car start up? Boom! The 6-meter-tall demon beast suddenly hammered its hands together, creating a loud sound. The earth shook violently. He couldn't even stand steadily, let alone form an effective defense. Zhou Ling's face changed greatly as he said, We're finished, we're finished, we're completely finished. Yang Luoshui was so scared that she started crying. Senior brother, what do we do, what do we do? Meng Cheng was also trembling in fear as he continued to retreat. He completely ignored Yang Luoshui and didn't care about anyone else at this time. He was lucky to be able to escape. Meng Cheng retreated to the back and started running. Zheng Qingsong shouted loudly, Meng Cheng, don't run, don't run. Meng Cheng sneered and said, if I didn't run over, would I have died with you? All of you go die. Yang Luoshui shouted loudly, Senior brother Meng Cheng, bring me along. Zhou Ling also crawled up from the ground. He turned around and wanted to run, but Zheng Qingsong shouted again, don't run, over there, there are demon beasts too. Bam! In the forest, there was a loud sound as an afterimage flew out. Meng Cheng's body was struck into two pieces and smashed into a rock, fresh blood flowing out. Zheng Qingsong sighed heavily and said, I already told you not to run. Yang Luoshui screamed crazily. She was so scared that her expression was extremely brutal. Her body was curled into a ball, and her body was trembling. At this time, she did not have any strength to fight. Long Fei walked forward and slapped him, then shouted, calm down a little. A single slap caused Yang Luoshui to be dumbstruck. At this moment, Long Fei had already walked out. Senior brother Wang, take care of them. Wang Qingshan was stunned for a moment and said, Long Fei, what are you trying to do? Don't go out. Zheng Qingsong also shouted, defensive, defensive, don't go out. Long Fei's right hand moved, and the dragon salure landed in his hand. He said lightly, the best defense is attack. And then, Long Fei's heart was moved. Unparalleled level 5. Buzz! The dragon salure in Long Fei's hand moved and rushed towards the Hell Bull head. With one hand holding onto his blade, he jumped up into the air and slashed towards the Hell Bull head's head. Moo! With a roar, the Hell Bull head's incomparably strong body suddenly charged forward, and without waiting for the dragon's salure to land, it smashed into Long Fei's chest. Boom! Long Fei's chest flashed with a golden light as the power of Golden Dragon Protector burst out. Whoosh! Long Fei flew out like a kite with its string cut, and thought in his heart, damn, what a strong power. Bam! The moment he landed, Long Fei rushed out once again, as though he was flying again. This time, with both hands on the blade, he roared out in his heart, Dark Dragon God slash. Chua! Roar! The shadow of the Dark Dragon God roared out. The blade, Chi, raged, and ruthlessly slashed at the Hell Bull head. Rumble, rumble, rumble. The row of towering trees was split into two by the sword aura from the dragon salure. A deep bloody wound also appeared on the top of the Hell Bull head's head. The Hell Bull head was enraged, and its two horns glinting with a cold light clashed against each other. Madness. Damn. Isn't this guy too terrifying? Its defense was too thick. Even Dragon Salure would have a hard time dealing heavy damage. Then change your posture. Long Fei kept his Dragon Salure and laid on the ground with his forelimbs spread. He shouted from his Adam's apple. Toting skill. Big toe. With his forelimbs supporting him, Long Fei's body shot out like a cannonball, smashing straight towards the Hell Bull head. Is he crazy? If the Hell Bull head were to compete in strength, he would definitely be turned into minced meat. Dead, dead, he's going to die. Zhou Ling's voice trembled. Wang Qingshan's brows tightened and said, this won't do. Even if this Long Fei doesn't die, he will be heavily injured. Zhou Ling, you are a spirit poison master. You should go and release the poison for the Hell Bull head. We can't delay it. With just Long Fei's strength alone, it won't be possible. Wang Qingshan said anxiously. They had never accepted a B-level mission. In the past, the most he had received was only a C-level mission. The reason why he had accepted the B-level mission this time around was because he wanted to earn some points and exchange them for something better to deal with during the Academy's large competition. That's why they took the risk. He did not expect that the danger level of the B-class mission would completely exceed his expectations. Zhou Ling's body shrank and immediately said, I don't want to send myself to my death. Wang Qingshan said, Brother Zhou, we will cover you. You don't have to worry. Zhou Ling sneered and said, Wang Qingshan, do you take me to be a fool? Cover me? Is this hell bullhead something that can be covered just by saying that? You think I'm a 3-year-old child? Zheng Qingsong disdainfully said, Damn, I'll go. It was also at this time. Long Fei and the hell bullhead collided together. Long Fei roared, Extermination! Whoosh! Long Fei was blasted outwards, and the hell bullhead retreated a few steps as well. The toting skill's penetrating power penetrated deep into his body, and following the movement of the idea, the wave of energy madly wreaked havoc in the body of the ox head. Crack! With a burst of killing intent, a scarlet number floated above the hell bullhead's head. 39,833. His body sank as well, becoming even more furious. I'll take your life while you're sick. When the dragon salure in Long Fei's hand fell, without waiting for it to react, he rushed forward once again and slashed down. Not the blade, but the back. It struck down heavily. He slammed the ox head's body to the ground. Splitting pulsar, Long Fei's fists surged onto the ground, causing the gigantic hell bullhead to shake as both of his fists exploded. Mountain hit fist. Roar, roar. The god power in his right arm also exploded out at the same time. Two violent and furious King Kong apes rushed out of Long Fei's fist, smashing the hell bullhead that was above the ground into the air. Dragon chop, 1,000 slashes. In the instant that the hell bullhead rises into the air, Long Fei's figure flashed out, and the dragon salure began to dance wildly. Dragon chop at the great perfection stage, 1,000 slashes. Coupled with the power of thunder from the thunder immortal root, the crazy chopping down was like a kitchen knife chopping down on a wire, bringing about sparks and lightning. Wang Qingshan and the others were immediately dumbfounded. Long Fei was like a god. Wang Qingshan muttered, Teacher Aoya is indeed correct. He is not an ordinary person. Boom! Long Fei roared out in his heart. Explode for me. Ding! Chapter 732, Rockets Upgrade. Chapter 732, Rockets Upgrade Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Hell Bullhead for obtaining 35,000 experience, 500 power of celestial, and 1 energy values. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Hell's Armor. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining rare and undead veins. Do you wish to fuse it? Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up, currently at the 7th level of the Spirit Immortal Realm. He had leveled up. Long Fei exclaimed in his heart, I've finally leveled up. Ding! The undying blood vein was devoured by the dragon's salure. Ding! The Hell's Armor was disintegrated and devoured. Long Fei forced himself to think, it's starting again, a devouring vein and a spirit devouring treasure. They're trying to take my life. The Yin Huang ancestor started to chew and said, This Hell's Armor is too rough. It's so unpalatable. F***CK. Patriarch your head. Long Fei scolded her. It's already good if you have something to eat, but you still have to be so picky. Do you still want me to live? Yin Huang ancestor laughed and said, I want you to live. I want you to live. At this moment, Wang Qingshan walked up, looked at Long Fei with a dumbstruck expression, and asked, Just how strong are you? Zheng Qingsong said, Brat, you really scare me to death. You are too damn strong. Long Fei smiled slightly and said, There's still quite a few hell bullhead around here. You guys wait here. I'll go and lure them away. Wang Qingshan pulled Long Fei back and said, It's too dangerous. Long Fei said, I will take good care of myself. Wait for me here. If I don't return within an hour, you guys leave first. I'll definitely catch up with you guys. After Long Fei finished speaking, he rushed out. Upgrade. Upgrade. He wanted to level up. How could he miss such a good opportunity? The defense of the Hell Bullhead was indeed very strong, but he had a lot of experience. Long Fei disappeared into the darkness. Wang Qingshan immediately said, "Everyone, meditate in place. Recover the power of celestial as soon as possible." In another place, within the eternal mountain range, God's fire troopers' group of 6 stood on a hillside as they looked at the immortal city from afar. This is the immortal city. It was also a relic of the undying immortal sect. All of them were undead creatures, old undead monsters. The bewitching senior sister looked coldly at the immortal city and said slightly, "Holy Sword Troopers, I want to see how strong you are and how long you can last. You dare to snatch my mission? Just you wait." The big guy slightly said, "Big sis, what exactly is inside the immortal city? Holy Sword Troopers' ranking is higher than ours. If they can't do it, then ranking was combat power. Holy Sword Troopers was ranked 16th, several ranks higher than them, and their overall strength was also above theirs. If they couldn't even do it, then God's fire troopers definitely couldn't as well. The bewitching senior sister sneered and said, "The old monster in Immortal City is a dragon. Undying ghost dragon. I spent an entire month flipping through ancient books and searching for the method to kill Ghost Dragon. Only we can complete this mission." The bewitching senior sister said confidently. The expressions of the few members changed. The big guy said, "Big sis, is there really a dragon on senior sister?" The beautiful senior sister said, "Of course there are dragons, although the dragon race has disappeared, but that does not mean there are no dragons. The Pan family has disappeared for 1,000,000 years, and they have not appeared yet, so the dragon race must be hiding themselves. This ghost dragon might be from the dragon race. Maybe after I kill him, I'll be able to find the location of the dragon region. Ha ha! Maybe I will become the strongest person in God's martial continent. I heard that whoever can find the dragon domain will be able to command all the dragons. By then, all of you will be hegemony." The bewitching senior sister became excited. Sounds of fighting and screams came from the immortal city. And then there was Long Fei. "Hellcore, it's time to unleash your abilities." Long Fei moved and released all of the Hellcore from the Death Calling God seal. Rows and rows of them stood in front of Long Fei. "Greetings, Master." The voice was loud, but only Long Fei could hear it. Long Fei smiled slightly and said, "Now, kill all of the demon beasts here for me. Remember, kill them all." "Yes, sir." All the ghost soldiers flew out crazily. Long Fei laughed excitedly. "It's very difficult to level up on myself, but if 1,000 people were to help me level up, how fast would it be? Who can compete with me?" Long Fei bellowed. "Who else?" 10 minutes later. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Hell Bullhead for obtaining 35,000 experience, 500 power of celestial, and 1 energy values. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining rare and undead veins fusion. Dragon Salyer, absorb your blood vein to your heart's content. Long Fei laughed happily. "It's starting. The killing machine is starting to roll." Ding! 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 More and more notifications sounded. Because these ghost soldiers were all brought out by Long Fei and trained by him, the demon beasts that they killed were all experiences gained by him. The experience bar began to surge. Half an hour later. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Current level. Spirit Immortal Stage Level 8. Too fast. Leveling up is just like riding on a rocket. Can you be faster? Long Fei was excited. At the same time, he asked in his heart, "Ancestor, will these ghost soldiers betray us?" Yan Huang Ancestor said, "Don't worry. With me here, they wouldn't dare." Long Fei's mind relaxed and said, "That's good." This was a high-level killing machine. Killing 1,000 Shadow Squad soldiers would help him level up, so he didn't want to see anything bad happen. Arrogant, immortal state. I need a 3-rate fairy vein now. The idea moved and said to the Ancestor, "Ancestor, can you sense where they are?" Yan Huang Ancestor replied, "Sure." Long Fei said, "Then you better take note of this and see if there are any Oxhead Kings." Yan Huang Ancestor smiled and said, "Understood." Why isn't Long Fei back yet? Almost an hour. Zhou Ling impatiently waited and said, I think we should go first. He's just a service disciple. Yet he wants us to wait for him? Wang Qingshan frowned and said, Senior brother Zhou Ling, if not for Long Fei just now, I'm afraid we would have died here. Yang Luo Shui said fiercely. So what? He actually dares to hit me. I won't let him off when we go back. Zheng Qingsong said, Harmonious, harmonious. We are from the first battle squadron. Yang Luo Shui glared at Zheng Qingsong and said, You only know about harmony. Why didn't you talk about harmony when he hit me? An hour passed. Long Fei did not appear, because the ghost soldiers had discovered the ruins of the undying immortal sect. Moreover, he even found a boss. Chapter 733, Boss, Undying Ghost Dragon. Chapter 733, Boss, Undying Ghost Dragon. Originally, Long Fei had wanted to rush back to meet up with Wang Qingshan. However, just as he was about to rush over, a shadow soldier informed him that he had discovered a powerful creature, the undead creatures. Long Fei immediately became excited. Boss. Kill the boss first. Humph. An hour has passed, and we can't wait any longer. He really takes himself seriously. If our power of Celestial wasn't exhausted just now, what we need is protection? Zhou Ling said in disdain, forgetting the fear she had just shown. Senior Brother Wang, we can't wait any longer. Yang Luo Shui also said, What can a mere service disciple do? I think it was already eaten by the demon beast. I waited for him for a whole hour. That's kind of you. Zhou Ling immediately said, Senior Brother Wang, we should complete our mission soon and escape from it quickly. Our time is extremely precious. We cannot waste our time just because of a service disciple. Wang Qingshan looked at Zheng Qingsong. Zheng Qingsong slightly said, Since you haven't come back yet, you must either be lost or... He did not continue. Furthermore, the sky was about to darken, and the mountain was becoming more and more dangerous at night. The mission had to be completed before nightfall. Wang Qingshan took a glance at the direction Long Fei had disappeared in, and thought to himself, Long Fei, take care of yourself. Finished. Wang Qingshan said, Let's complete the mission first, then look for Long Fei later. The Immortal City. Rumble. Rumble. The sound of thunder exploded, and a few streaks of light flashed out. Junior Apprentice Brother Lin. Junior Apprentice Brother Lin. How are you? Only 3 of Holy Sword Troopers' 6 people came out, while the other one's entire body was black and poisoned with the poison of death. He can't do it anymore. Captain, the undead creatures inside are too strong. We're not their match. Leave. It was also at this time. The 6 God's Fire Troopers slowly walked out. The bewitching senior sister laughed proudly. Ha ha! Stealing missions from me, Holy Sword Troopers? Pfft. The brows of the captain of the Holy Sword Troopers sunk as he said, Junior Sister Han, the mission is yours. Ha! Senior Brother Dao Feng, is the mission now mine? Don't you like fighting with me? Han Xueji sneered and said, Why aren't you continuing? Dao Feng said slightly, Junior Sister Han, I will accept the mission first when it is issued. There is no such thing as not snatching it. Furthermore, this mission is not something that you and I can complete. The mission level is not a class. It should be his class, and you can't complete it either. The undead creatures in there can't be killed at all. Han Xueji sneered and said, Of course you can't kill him. Only I can complete this mission. Wait until I complete this mission. My God's Fire Troopers will be able to trample your Holy Sword Troopers underfoot. Han Xueji laughed proudly. Dao Feng's gaze turned cold, and he said with a cold smile, Junior Sister Han, let me advise you one last time not to go in. Humph, do you think I'm trash like you? Han Xueji laughed as he waved his finger, pointing at the Immortal City. He said, Let's go. The big guy took the lead, shouldered his war hammer, and rushed up, then smashed it onto the city gates of Immortal City. Boom! A loud sound echoed out. The city gate was smashed open, and at the same time, overwhelming amounts of dark arrogance rushed out. Dao Feng's face changed greatly and said, Ignorant. If you break through the city gates, it will be the same as breaking through the immortal city's seal. That way, the undead creatures would be able to rush out. Han Shueji also frowned, but she was not worried. As long as she could kill Ghost Dragon, all the undead creatures in the immortal city would die instantly. Woo woo woo. A chilly wind blew. The powerful undead creatures rumbled. They all rushed to the city gates. Han Shueji ordered, "The 5 of you, hold these undead creatures back for me. Remember, you must hold them back for me and buy me some time. If you want to kill the undead creatures, you have to get rid of it first." Han Shueji looked at Dao Feng and said, "Senior brother Dao Feng, you don't know about this, right?" Finished. Han Shueji transformed into a ball of light and flew out. The big guy shouted, "Give Big Sis some time." Dao Feng secretly thought, "Undying Ghost Dragon, are you talking about the Death Lizard?" "Captain, what should we do?" Dao Feng slightly said, "Don't be anxious. Let's take a look first." Bang, bang, bang. There were more and more death legions at the city gate. The big 5 struggled more and more. "Hold on. We have to hold on." All hope was placed on Han Shueji. If she wanted to complete the mission, he had to rely on her to kill Ghost Dragon. At this moment, Wang Qingshan and the other 3 came over. Looking at Dao Feng and the big-sized man who was struggling at the city gate, Wang Qingshan said without hesitation, "Junior Sister Yang, you're a medical master. You should go and see if senior brother needs any help. Qing Song, activate the formation seal at the city gate. God's fire troopers as his senior brother can't hold on much longer. Zhou Ling, let's go help." Wang Qingshan took big steps and rushed forward. Zheng Qingsong also rushed forward. Only Zhou Ling did not move from his original position, and he had a face full of contempt as he said, "You all want to die, but I don't want to." At this moment, Dao Feng stood up and said to Yang Luoshui, "Take care of him." "Let's go too," a brother beside him said. "Captain, why should we help them?" Dao Feng said with a sunken voice, "They're from the God Emperor Academy. They are our little brother. If the undead creatures from the immortal city rush out, they will definitely be annihilated within 1,000,000 miles. Our God Emperor Academy wants to protect this continent. Do you understand?" As soon as he finished, Dao Feng rushed forward and joined the battle at the city gate. No matter what kind of hatred or resentment there was, they were all disciples of the God Emperor Academy. We're all disciples of Senior Brother S of the same sect. When faced with difficulties, we should always be united with the outside world. It was not a fight inside. Since Han Shueji had a way to get rid of Ghost Dragon, then he should help her with all his might. With the help of Dao Feng and a few others, the city gate was slightly blocked. Zheng Qingsong was also speeding up the refining of the array seal, but the level of his array was too low. It was impossible for him to hold on for too long. Dao Feng said, "Junior Sister Han, you must succeed. What's the situation with Big Sister? Why hasn't it recovered yet?" Suddenly, the undead creatures at the city gate was retreating. Dao Feng asked excitedly, "Han Shueji succeeded?" At this moment, a loud sound was heard from the center of the city. Boom! Han Shueji's body fell down from the city wall, his face pale white, blood trickling from the corner of his mouth. He looked at Dao Feng and the others and said with great difficulty, "Run, quick, quick, run." At this moment, on the hillside, Long Fei's eyes lit up, looking straight at the center of the immortal city. Wow, what a dazzling golden light. A super big boss. Chapter 734, Extremely Intrepid. Chapter 734, Extremely Intrepid. With a loud noise, just now, a burst of golden light burst out from the center of the immortal city. With a flash of golden light, he disappeared into the ground. Only the roars of dragons could be heard. The Azure Dragon ancestor became excited and said lightly, "Golden Dragon, Blood Dragon, Black Dragon." The undying Old Devil also appeared. Black Dragon slowly opened his eyes, saying he should have appeared a long time ago. With him here, boss will be much safer. The Blood Dragon said, "Big Brother Green Dragon, could it be that Ghost Dragon doesn't know the boss? If that's the case, it would be terrible." The Golden Dragon shouted, "If he dares to make a move on boss, I'll crush his chrysanthemum. Azure dragon, black dragon, blood dragon. The three dragon gods were all speechless. Jean Long coughed and said, "Eighth brother said that." I didn't say it. 8 golden dragons and 8 brothers. OL8. No matter what, Ghost Dragon definitely doesn't know the boss, and we can't help him either. The boss once said that if we find him, we can't help him too much before we find the open dragon domain. The golden dragon, the blood dragon, and the black dragon all nodded. Training required one to take one step at a time. If you walked too fast, you would discover that the more you lost, the more strength you would accumulate bit by bit. Naturally, Long Fei could not hear their conversation. Yin Huang ancestor was the same. However, the Azure Dragon ancestor had said before they discovered the dragon domain, they would definitely not help Long Fei, nor would they tell him anything about the Dragon Clan. Everything would depend on when Long Fei finds the dragon domain and recovers his peak Yuan Long strength. Otherwise, everything would be in vain. At the entrance of the immortal city. Run. Don't worry about me. Run. Han Xueji's face was pale, her chest was pierced, blood flowing out, and her body was definitely covered in black poison. All the meridians in her body were revealed, all of them turning purplish-black. It wouldn't be long before she would have a heart attack, and then she would be dead for sure. The big-sized man carried Han Xueji and said, "Big sister, I won't leave you alone." Dao Feng looked at Han Xueji and said, "Didn't you say you have a way? Could it be that the undying lizard mutated and evolved?" Han Xueji said, "That isn't a lizard at all. It's a dragon, a real dragon, ghost dragon. I had originally planned to use this poison to kill him. However, I was too naive. He was not harmed in the slightest. Furthermore, he has evolved even faster. His body has already evolved into a dragon scale." When Han Xueji thought about the scene just now, she couldn't help but shiver in fear. "We are not a match. Quickly go and notify the elders. The principal, the Undying City's quest level increase is at the SS grade, and I am worried that the Immortal City will soon be occupied and subdued by the giant demons. At that time, the power of the giant demons in the west will be even stronger." Han Xueji urged. Wang Qingshan's mission was to record the coordinates here and open the teleportation circle. They were doing all of this to expand their front lines, and all of this was in preparation for the upcoming war with the demons. Not just them. Right now, the majority of God Emperor Academy's missions are all to prepare for the upcoming war with the demon race. That's why we're cleaning up the city. However, the difficulty of the mission exceeded their expectations. This was a task that was absolutely impossible to complete. Rumble, rumble. With 2 loud bangs, the undead creatures that was just evacuated came back and crashed into the city gate. Crack! The burly man on Zheng Qingsong's forehead fell like rain and said, "The array is about to break. I can't hold on much longer. Want to retreat or die? Hurry up and make your decision." Han Xueji immediately said, "Withdraw." Dao Feng looked at her and said, "Withdraw." Wang Qingshan clenched his fists tightly and said, "If we retreat, what will happen to this place? If the Immortal City is taken over by the demons, then the Western demons will use this place as a base and attack the God Emperor City at the center of the Immortal Domain. The Undying Mountain Range was a natural barrier. If they failed to guard this place, the God Emperor City would become extremely dangerous." Dao Feng said, "If we do not retreat, we will all die here. Let's retreat first, then call the elders to send some people over. With our current strength, there's no way we can deal with them." Rumble. Without waiting for Dao Feng to finish speaking, the array formation above the city gate suddenly shattered. Everyone's expression changed drastically. "This is bad. It's over. It's over." At this time, Zhou Ling and Yang Luoshui had already run far away. Dao Feng, who was at the front, shouted loudly, "All of you retreat." The big-sized man handed Han Xueji to another disciple and went up as well. "Take Big Sis and leave." The big man swung his hammer down with all his might and blocked the city gate with his huge body. He roared out loud, come on, all of you. Han Shueji felt pain in his heart and shouted loudly, Big guy. Bang, bang, bang. The big guy blocked all the attacks by himself. His body quickly turned purplish black and was covered by the death poison. However, he didn't fall down. The hammer in his hand crazily swept around. Behind them, Dao Feng brought the others and quickly left. When they retreated out of the city gate, the big guy had already been swallowed by the undead creatures. Run! The big man let out a last cry, and his body slowly fell to the ground. It was also at this time Long Fei quickly rushed down and looked at the black mist around the city gate's entrance. This is the undead creatures. Balls of refined gas. Damn, others might see, but Long Fei was the owner of the system. He could clearly see the bloodlines in the purple-black mist. Long Fei, run! Brat, why are you still standing there like a fool? Hurry up and run. Dao Feng anxiously shouted. Wang Qingshan's face turned anxious and roared. Long Fei acted as if he did not hear it. And just as he landed, he saw the big-sized man fall. His heart trembled slightly, and he muttered, I didn't think that this big-sized man would be so loyal. Seems like the God Emperor Academy is not as I expected. Finished. Long Fei moved and shouted, soldiers lead the way. Listen to my commands. Behind Long Fei, 1,000 of the ghost soldiers had already activated their power. Long Fei moved his finger, pointed at the city gate, and said, Kill. And then, he also rushed in alone. Wang Qingshan was stunned. Long Fei, don't go. Zheng Qingsong's face was also filled with shock. It's over, this time we're really dead. Dao Feng bellowed. Who is this brat? Are you crazy? However, in less than half a minute, Long Fei walked out of the city gate. Carrying the big-sized man on his body, he walked out step by step. That scene was extremely valiant. Chapter 735, The Tempest of Dying. Chapter 735, The Tempest of Dying. What happened in the short span of half a minute? What happened was simple. Those undead creatures had been killed quite a number by Long Fei's shadow soldiers. As for him, he was also leveled up to the 9th stage of the Spirit Immortal realm, and his experience points was still increasing. If he wanted to break through the arrogant immortal state, he would need the 3-rate fairy vein. Otherwise, there was no way to break through. Seeing Long Fei carrying the big-sized man out, everyone's face changed. The shock in his heart could not be described with words. The visual impact was too great. What is this kid's name? Dao Feng asked. Wang Qingshan said excitedly. His name is Long Fei, fighting arena's 18 consecutive victories. Ha ha! Dao Feng laughed excitedly and said, He's crazy enough. From now on, he is my brother. Holy Sword Troopers welcomes him at any time. Han Shueji was even more direct as he said, He's already my younger brother. Blood younger brother. If anyone dares to touch him, this old lady will overturn his entire family. In the mission hall, she still wanted to take liberties with Long Fei, and the big-sized man had even attacked Long Fei. She did not expect Long Fei to actually save the big-sized man. His heart was filled with gratitude. Although it did not show on the surface, this kindness was firmly engraved in Han Shueji's heart. Every member of God's Fire Troopers was like a family member of hers. Zheng Qingsong laughed out loud. Long Fei, you are truly powerful. To be able to save a person from a city that doesn't even exist, you are truly powerful. The crowd stepped forward to welcome him. Long Fei gently put the big-sized guy down and said, I gave him the detoxification pill just now, so it shouldn't be a problem to keep his life. I'll hand him over to you now. As soon as he finished, his eyes were filled with shock as he asked, What else do you want to do? Long Fei looked in the direction of the Immortal City and said, I have more important things to do. It wasn't easy for him to get out for a bit. If he didn't go berserk, would he be able to do it? If he encountered a boss, wouldn't he just kill him and sleep at night? I can't sleep. Furthermore, from the moment Long Fei arrived at the Immortal Mountain Range, he had seen the ancient seal. He had to get it back. Han Shueji pulled Long Fei back and said, Right now, you are my younger brother. You are not allowed to take any risks. It's too dangerous inside. Long Fei was startled. He looked at Han Shueji and asked, "When did I become your brother? How come I didn't know?" Han Shueji said, "Just now. That is not the point. The point is that you cannot go in. We must immediately go back and inform the elders." It was also at this time. Yin Huang Ancestor suddenly said, "A demon expert has appeared 1,000 kilometers away." Long Fei's face changed and immediately asked, "How much more time does he have to reach Immortal City?" Yin Huang Ancestor said, "I am not sure, but his speed is very fast. He should be rushing towards the undead creatures of the Immortal City. This could be a strategic location. I just observed that this is a pass. If this city is occupied by the demons, then it will be dangerous." Long Fei looked at Wang Qingshan and said, "Senior brother, isn't your mission to record coordinates and establish the primary teleportation formation? You guys build a transfer array here. I need to go into the city. The faster the better. The demon powerhouses will arrive." Finished. Long Fei did not stop and quickly rushed towards the Immortal City. Everyone was stunned again. Looking at Long Fei's departing figure, Dao Feng did not dawdle and immediately said, "We'll do as he says. An array master will help them build a primary teleportation formation. I'm going into the city." Wang Qingshan also said, "I'm going too." "All right," Dao Feng said cleanly. "The two of us will enter the city to rescue Long Fei. If we do not come out, after you have finished setting up the teleportation array, you will leave immediately." Finished. The two of them rushed out as well. Although it wasn't the time for them to live or die yet, the consequences of losing here were extremely dire. For the immortal domain, for the God Emperor City, for the faith of the demon slayer. They put everything on the line. It was in danger. Every warrior had the duty to protect this continent. If a service disciple could do it, why couldn't they? In their hearts, Long Fei had become incomparably great. However, they didn't know that Long Fei entered the immortal city to kill the boss, to level up, and to kill holy artifact. As for God's martial continent's consolation, sorry, his awareness wasn't that high yet. Roar. A roar came from the sky above the immortal city. The undead creatures that were killed in the city stood up once again. Long Fei became excited. "Wakaka, this is giving out another wave of experience. Isn't it too great?" Yin Huang Ancestor reminded him. "That demon expert still has 800 kilometers. F*CK. In less than 2 minutes, he advanced 200 kilometers? So abnormal?" Long Fei cursed. "Seems like I have to finish the battle quickly." Hellcore push. Long Fei moved and commanded. One of the war masters among the ghost soldiers directed the rhythm of the attack and quickly advanced. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing undead creatures for obtaining 20,000 experience, 300 power of celestial, and 1 energy values. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing undead creatures for obtaining 20,000 experience, 300 power of celestial, and 1 energy values. The system beep continued to attack. Long Fei was extremely excited. It's so good to have these ghost soldiers. Ancestor, how many immortal crystals do we need to train them in Flying Fairyland? If I had 1,000 Flying Fairyland soldiers, wouldn't I be able to fly? Ha ha! Long Fei was so excited that he did not want it anymore. Yin Huang Ancestor said, "Let me calculate for you. If you want to cultivate all of them to the highest level, it won't take much immortal crystals." Long Fei asked, "How much is how much you need?" The Yin Huang Ancestor said, "There are so many of them." Long Fei's eyes darkened and said, "Your sister." The Yin Huang Ancestor continued, "The mountain I was talking about just now was to train a soldier. Your 1,000 soldiers should be like a mountain range with a lot of immortal crystals." Ruh! Long Fei immediately shriveled up and said, "Then you should go to the heavens. I won't go to the heavens." The Yin Huang Ancestor continued to speak. "The ghost soldiers are strong, but it's not like their cultivation is without shackles. If they can keep breaking through, even if they meet true experts, these ghost soldiers will not be able to fight them. These ghost soldiers have a time limit. It's almost time." The Yin Huang ancestor slowly spoke. Long Fei was completely confused as he asked, "What do you mean when they say that time is almost up?" The Yin Huang ancestor said, "There's a time limit for them to come out. They can't just continue slaughtering without end. They must return to the Yellow Springs summoning seal to recuperate." Long Fei immediately asked, "Then why didn't Lang Qianli come back to recuperate?" "That's because you were in a hurry to send him back to the southern domain to check up on Long family. I left a trace of my power on him so he could endure. I didn't tell you about this matter because I'm afraid you'll be worried." At this moment, one by one, the ghost soldiers returned to the Yellow Springs summoning seal. More and more of the ghost soldiers disappeared. Long Fei had already fallen into the center of the lake, and his surroundings were undead creatures. Long Fei rolled his eyes and muttered, "Ancestor, your sister, you're playing the tempo of playing me to death. We're done for this time." Chapter 736, The Strong Boss, So Excited. Chapter 736, The Strong Boss, So Excited. The ghost soldiers returned to the death-calling God Seal continuously, disappearing after entering the Divine Seal. They all sat cross-legged to cultivate and recover. They had run out of energy. The higher the cultivation level of the ghost soldiers, the longer they would last. It seems that no matter what, I still have to increase their cultivation. Immortal crystals, Long Fei muttered in his heart as he dropped the dragon salure in his hand and said faintly, "Now it's my turn to take action." One person dashed out with a saber strike. 5th level Peerless. Berserk Slash. Long Fei rushed forward and killed the undead creatures beneath the bloodlines. He was extremely fast. However, the surrounding undead creatures lost their Yin soldiers to fight against the crazy pouncing Xiang Long Fei and became more and more concentrated, almost wrapping Long Fei completely. Yin Huang ancestor said, "These creatures are highly toxic." Long Fei smiled slightly and said, "I'm not afraid. Why would Golden Dragon Protector be afraid of poison?" Long Fei moved and asked, "Feier, how are your preparations?" Feier came out from the pearl. She had long hair and ears, and her body exuded an irresistible allure. The difference from the past was that she held a magic staff in her hand, and her body emitted a holy light, just like an angel. It made people feel respect. Feier giggled and said, "Master, I'm ready." Long Fei said, "Since you're ready, then blast it toward my death." "Understood, Master." As Feier fell, the magic staff in her hand moved slightly, and a strong power gushed out. She chanted an incantation, as if she was chanting before casting her magic. Next, the thunderclouds in the sky began rolling back and forth crazily. Feier's eyes blazed with anger as she said in a low voice, "Power of thunder, listen to my command and explode." The staff in his hand suddenly stretched out and pointed at the thundercloud in the sky. A burst of energy shot out, and after entering the thundercloud, an incomparably huge lightning bolt raged out. Crack! Rumble! Lightning-type damage was definitely the nemesis of dark creatures and undead creatures. The huge lightning strikes were like an explosion from a nuclear power plant, sweeping across the entire area. He had become stronger. Long Fei was shocked. Feier has become stronger. This staff has increased her strength too much. Not only that, ever since Feier had absorbed the power of lightning to become stronger, she had started to cultivate by herself. With the addition of the staff's power, her cultivation rapidly increased. Ding, ding, ding. The system's notification sound exploded. This kind of rhythm was, "Hey." Seeing that the experience bar was increasing, Long Fei shouted excitedly, "Kill them all." Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing undead creatures for obtaining 20,000 experience, 300 power of celestial, and 1 energy values. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining rare and undead veins. While the system beep was constantly thinking about her colleagues, Long Fei continued to advance. Everywhere he went, there was nothing to stop him, as they were all crushed by the lightning. Yin Huang ancestor reminded him, That demon expert is still 500 kilometers away. Rub. So fast. Long Fei muttered. His idea moved and said, Feier, go faster. Feier giggled and said, Understood, master. The power in the lightning field raged even more wildly, completely opening a path for Long Fei. Half a minute later, Long Fei's experience points had directly risen to 100% and was unable to level up because he had not fused with the 3-rate fairy vein. At this time, Long Fei came to the place where the golden light had shone. It was a huge plaza, and in the middle of the plaza, there was a huge pit. It was like a crater in the ground. After entering the plaza, the undead creatures seemed to not dare to approach, and were all standing outside the plaza. Long Fei walked to the edge of the hole and shouted with a sinking voice, Come out. Rumble, rumble. With a loud sound, the ground started to move. The entire ground was filled with purplish-black fog, and the air was filled with a strong sense of death. Long Fei thought in his heart, What kind of guy is down there? Suddenly, the golden light in the hole was dazzling, and a strong aura gushed out like a torrential storm. Long Fei quickly retreated, his expression changing. Such a strong boss. It makes me so excited. The stronger the boss was, the more excited Long Fei became. Roar. With an angry roar, a huge dragon head rushed out. It was incomparably ferocious, and its body was covered in purplish-black dragon scales. Unlike the azure dragon, golden dragon, and blood dragon, this fellow's pupils were black and extremely savage. Long Fei was dumbstruck. He had seen dragons, ice and fire alike, and had also seen black dragon. However, every time he had seen one, it had caused great shock to his heart, because the dragon was too strong. Immediately, Long Fei moved and asked, Azure Dragon, is this fellow also my little brother? The first thing he did was to ask, because he was worried that Long Fei might have killed the wrong person. Don't kill your own little brother when the time comes. That would be bad. The Azure Dragon ancestor didn't reply. Long Fei said in disdain, Is it true or not? Rup, you won't tell me, right? If you don't want to say it, then do it. Long Fei did not care about all that. Looking at the golden light on undying ghost dragon's body, he could not help but want to kill him right now. Still no one answered. Long Fei was no longer polite. Since you guys are not saying anything, then I will start now. Long Fei was also slightly angry in his heart, not telling him anything. What was this called? Do they still regard him as their boss? Do they even have him as their boss in their eyes? How infuriating. Roar. Undying ghost dragon let out a roar, stared at Long Fei with 2 black eyes, and said, Puny human, you dare to invade my territory? Die. Boom. Boom. As soon as he said that, the purplish-black fog instantly turned into ferocious undead creatures that pounced towards Long Fei. Capture the thief first, and then capture the king. Since these things are all summoned by you, I'll kill you first. Long Fei's heart stirred, and the dragon's salyer in his hand sank. Moonlit step, soar into the sky. Whoosh! With one step into the air, he grabbed the dragon's salyer and fiercely slashed down. Long Fei was baffled. There was not even a hint of the dark dragon god's blade, aura. It was like an ordinary blade, not even comparable to an ordinary blade. The saber slashed down. Before the blade even landed, undying ghost dragon's body trembled, and a strong pressure pressed down. Bam! The power of the golden dragon protector also disappeared. Long Fei fell to the ground, spitting out a mouthful of blood, his heart burning with anger. You want to play with me? Sure. Then I won't use your strength. Anger was burning. Long Fei was really angry. Chapter 737, Fight. Chapter 737, Fight. The Azure Dragon did not speak. The Black Dragon would not help. Even the protective Golden Dragon had gone silent, allowing undying Ghost Dragon's aura to crush it. One must know that Long Fei hated power that could crush one's realms the most. His heart was filled with rage. When he was angry, the Blood Dragon asked, Big Brother Azure Dragon, wouldn't it be too cruel for us to do this? The Golden Dragon followed. That's right, Ghost Dragon is being held by the seal. He doesn't even know who our boss is. If we don't help, can our boss really help us with the seal? The Black Dragon said, the boss has chosen his own path. We just need to listen to him. The Azure Dragon ancestors said, it doesn't matter whether boss hates us or hates us. As long as he can become stronger, if he can awaken his own power, even if he hates me, I don't care. Boundless love? The Azure Dragon ancestors' actions were all for Long Fei. There were many things he had to face alone. The more they relied on to obstruct Long Fei's advance, the more they had to wait. They were waiting for the moment Long Fei found the dragon domain and the dragon race. Ah! Long Fei roared in his heart. With one hand, the dragon Salyer carried the devil's sword in the other. Shaking the heavens. Come out! Boom, boom, boom. 3 heaven-shaking ranks jumped out of Long Fei's space ring. Long Fei poured some energy into them, and they woke up. The 3 steel monster were just puppets that were not afraid of any death poison. Make way for me, Long Fei shouted as he gripped the devil's sword in his hand. The devil's sword was flowing with a magma-like radiance, and with every step Long Fei took, the armor on his body exploded forth. The 3 of them crazily attacked with their might that shook the skies. Long Fei followed closely behind. Undying Ghost Dragon's eyes carried a look of contempt and contempt. In front of him, his incomparably huge might that shook the skies was as minuscule as an ant's, something that's like an ant. You dare to be impudent in front of me? Get down. Ghost Dragon was furious. He moved his dragon claw, and a huge claw print came crashing down from the sky. Long Fei raised his eyes, and the devil's sword in his hand released a blazing sword chi, infinite sword. Buzz! When the sword intent burned, Long Fei suddenly sped up. He did not care about the attack of the dragon claw, but rushed to the side of the undying Ghost Dragon. Shwa! A sword swept out, cutting through everything. This time, Long Fei ruthlessly slashed onto undying Ghost Dragon's body. A scarlet number floated up above Ghost Dragon's head, 290. F***CK. Long Fei cursed in his heart. This damage was too low, so low that it was negligible. Undying Ghost Dragon was also instantly enraged, and swept out his other dragon claw. Bam! It heavily swept on a Long Fei's chest, and sent him flying 100 meters away as he heavily fell onto the ground. A mouthful of blood sprayed out. Long Fei's face paled, and his mind became even calmer. This won't do. This guy definitely has a weakness. With just my current strength, I'm not his opponent. The injury from just now caused Long Fei to have no choice but to calm down and think. It was impossible to kill him without finding his hood door. Han Shuiji's cultivation was much higher than his. It was impossible even for her, and it was even more impossible for her to talk about Long Fei. As Long Fei was pondering, undying Ghost Dragon mocked. Poor human, what's wrong? Come again, didn't you want to kill me? Come again. A lowly creature like you wants to kill me. You overestimate yourself. He was being mocked. Long Fei crawled up from the ground and said, Don't be too pleased with yourself. I'll definitely kill you today. Undying Ghost Dragon laughed and said, Come up and kill me. You don't dare to come up? Ha ha. You truly are a pitiful bug. The feeling of being crushed by me, huh? Long Fei clenched his fists tightly. He had been ridiculed by a demon beast to this extent. At this moment, Wang Qingshan and Dao Feng descended and blocked Long Fei on their left and right, and said, This guy is too strong. We're not his match at all. Long Fei, listen to my advice. Let's leave. The 2 of them were extremely anxious. The undying Ghost Dragon was not someone they could handle with their cultivation. Yin Huang Ancestor reminded him. That demon expert still has 300 kilometers. If they didn't kill Ghost Dragon, if he joined the demon camp, the consequences would be disastrous. Scared. Haha. Humans are the lowliest beings in the world. They're all pitiful worms. Haha. Undying Ghost Dragon laughed loudly. At the same time, he grabbed Wei Zhenqian and used a lot of strength in his claws. He directly crushed Wei Zhenqian into pieces, and the steel on his body fell to the ground. Something as insignificant as an ant, huh? Very wild. It was incomparably savage. Fuck you. Long Fei burst out in rage. I don't believe that I can't kill you. Anger soared. Long Fei was extremely unhappy. His steps sank as he said to Dao Feng and Wang Qingshan, "Senior brother, open up a path for me." Dao Feng held on to Long Fei tightly and asked, "Are you crazy? Do not be provoked by him. The more angry you are, the more you will fall into his trap." Wang Qingshan also said, "Long Fei, let's go back first and think of a way to get back. Don't be rash." Long Fei said, "The demon powerhouses have already arrived. If we don't kill him today, he will be accepted into the demon side's camp. If he falls here, you all should know the consequences even better than I do." Dao Feng's eyes shook. Wang Qingshan also stopped. They all knew why they were here. In order to set up a teleportation formation here, he needed to provide support and protect this place at the first possible moment. If they failed to guard this place, the entire immortal domain would be in danger. Dao Feng glanced at Wang Qingshan, his gaze focused as he asked Long Fei, "Do you have a way?" Long Fei shook his head, "Not yet." Wang Qingshan's eyes darkened. Long Fei continued, "I need to get close to him in order to find his weakness." Dao Feng yelled, "All right, I'll accompany you in your madness today." Wang Qingshan also nodded heavily and said, "Long Fei, it's nice to meet you. Happy to fight alongside you. Kill." As soon as he finished, Wang Qingshan was the first to rush out. The sword in his hand pierced out like lightning. The sword flowers forced all the undead creatures to retreat. Dao Feng followed closely behind and started to laugh maniacally. "Haha, come on." Long Fei followed behind them, his mind constantly pondering, "Weakness, weakness, where is the weakness? There must be a weakness. Where? Where is it?" Wang Qingshan and Dao Feng were using their lives to pave the way for him. They might very well die. If they couldn't kill Ghost Dragon, how could they face them? Undying Ghost Dragon laughed out loud in disdain. "At the beginning, you still have the chance to escape, but now, all of you have to die for me, huh?" Chapter 738. Explode for me. Chapter 738. Explode for me. The dragon claw moved. Streams of dragon claws that were incomparably powerful came crushing down from the sky. The aura of the undying ghost dragon carried along with it the might of dragon, also came crushing down. Sky blade, 10,000 arts. Dao Feng held onto a curved blade. It was extremely illusory, crazily slashing out with the chi of the blade that was like half a month's time. He roared loudly, "Come!" The longsword in Wang Qingshan's hand, lightning sword flower, also continued to attack midair. They were crushing the pressure of Ghost Dragon, who was never going to die. As they got closer and closer to Ghost Dragon, Wang Qingshan and Dao Feng's faces became pale. They were able to withstand most of Ghost Dragon's attacks. They could not take it anymore. Long Fei's heart was moved. Should I release the giant demons? This was his final trump card. If he were to release this giant demon, the consequences would be disastrous. Then he would be hunted by all the rankers in Immortal Domain. Phew. Long Fei panted heavily as he thought in his heart. Right now, it is not the time for it to be a last resort. If it was a life or death situation, Long Fei would not hesitate. So what if he was being hunted by the entire world? Others saw him as a brother, giving his life to buy time for him. But he couldn't just let Wang Qingshan die in vain. Long Fei would never take his brother's life as a joke. "Ah!" Long Fei roared. His heart exploded and the life and death sword intent ignited once again. "Undying Ghost Dragon, right? I will see just how hard you are." He slashed out with his sword. Wang Qingshan and Dao Feng coordinated with Long Fei at the same time, releasing their strongest power and cut a path for Long Fei amidst the crushing wall that did not kill him. "Long Fei, do your best. Brother, you must kill him." Long Fei broke through Undying Ghost Dragon's pressure and leaped up to the air to look at the extremely ferocious dragon head, then looked down at Undying Ghost Dragon's body from above. Suddenly, Long Fei's mind suddenly flashed with inspiration. He became extremely excited. I got it! I got it! Ha! Immediately, Long Fei retracted his devil's sword and roared in his heart. 10 times gravity! Boom! Long Fei plummeted from the sky and heavily crashed into the hole. Wang Qingshan and Dao Feng were dumbfounded. They did not know what Long Fei wanted to do, and thought that Long Fei had been crushed by the undying ghost dragon's pressure. It's over. Long Fei is finished. Wang Qingshan's eyes were cold and lifeless. Dao Feng clenched his fists tightly and said, "No matter what, for the sake of the immortal domain, for the sake of the God Emperor Academy, kill." He did not give up. Wang Qingshan was also instantly alert and said, "Kill." Betting on everything. The two of them did not run away. They could not run away either. Since that was the case, they might as well fight to the death. Long Fei, who had fallen into the hole, stood in front of a gigantic erased seal, revealed a crazed smile, and said, "Undying ghost dragon, this should be your weakness, right? Ha ha! Seal formation. A seal formation that was like the blood dragon ancestor. In the middle of the formation was half of Ghost Dragon's body. He couldn't leave the immortal city, and he couldn't use the breaking through the seal. Otherwise, when Long Fei was sent flying, he would instantly kill him. Because the distance was not enough. His body was being suppressed. And because of this, Long Fei thought that his body would be suppressed by some kind of power underground, which was why his range of attack was limited. Looking at the incomparably huge and thick dragon body on the array, Long Fei's lips curled up. The demon sword in his hand moved. Long Fei's body spun, slashing horizontally, waist slash. Crack! Dragon scales splattered everywhere, and blood flowed wildly. The closer they got to the seal, the weaker the undying ghost dragon's defense became. A 5-figure damage figure floated up from the undying ghost dragon's head. "Awoo!" The undying ghost dragon screamed in anger. "Despicable human! I'm going to kill you." At this moment, Wang Qingshan was enlightened. Long Fei is not dead yet. He is down there. Dao Feng also immediately said, "Hold him. Don't let him get down." The two of them immediately rushed forward. Long Fei laughed. "Kill me? Then come at me." The devil sword in his hand slashed out horizontally once again, and then hacked out crazily. Gravity's sword. Crack. Solitary 9 swords. Combine 9 swords and cut into one. 120,332, 92231. For a moment, Ghost Dragon's blood flowed like a river and gushed out like a spring. His body was already cut in half, and one could see the dragon bone. Yin Huang, ancestor, frowned. The demon powerhouses have already arrived outside of the immortal city. Long Fei muttered. "The one who is stealing the boss is here? Rup! Whoever dares to fight with Laozi will fight with him." The power in Long Fei's arms moved, and he roared out solemnly, "Killing God Chop." Boom! The devil sword combusted crazily as the power of God slaying surged into the demon sword. Long Fei used all his strength to slash horizontally. He absolutely could not give demon powerhouses any chance. He did not appear to snatch the boss from Long Fei. He was here to save the boss. This way, he couldn't afford to give him a chance. "Mocking me? Blast it for me. Rumble!" Long Fei slashed horizontally, directly cutting apart the remaining half of undying Ghost Dragon's body. It was also at this time that Long Fei shouted towards the outside of the deep pit. "The tree has fallen." The undying Ghost Dragon let out a scream and roared crazily. Its gigantic body fell down, like a huge mountain had collapsed. At the same time, the scales on his body fell off one by one. His body was also wildly tearing apart. "Very strange," Long Fei said in his heart. "Azure Dragon, this is what happens when you don't tell me. If you kill wrongly, all of this would be your fault." Long Fei did not cower. There were things he had to say. It didn't matter if the Azure Dragon was doing it for his own good or for some other reason. If he really was a Yuan Long, the leader of the dragon race, and the one who killed his own brother, he definitely wouldn't forgive the Green Dragon. Absolutely not. Long Fei hated evil. The Azure Dragon did not speak. The Blood Dragon then said excitedly, "Boss, you are wrong about Big Brother Azure Dragon. You will soon know what's going on. This seal is the same as the one that suppressed me. You also know how to undo the seal." The Azure Dragon ancestor did not speak. He was not afraid of Long Fei misunderstanding. As Long Fei could become stronger, even if he had to die, he would not hesitate at all. Because Long Fei was the leader of the dragon race, the last hope of the dragon race. The tribulation that would occur once every 3 million years was about to approach. Long Fei had to become stronger as soon as possible. Otherwise, he would not be able to withstand this tribulation. The Azure Dragon ancestor thought to himself, "Boss, you have to become even more powerful." Long Fei did not speak. Instead, he closed his eyes and felt a sense of satisfaction in his heart. "Explode." The system sounded out and Long Fei immediately shouted, "Release your striking energy value." Ding! Chapter 739, Big Day Tashiga. Chapter 739, Big Day Tashiga Ding. Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Undying Ghost Dragon for obtaining 100,000 experience, 30,000 power of celestial, and 1 energy values. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Immortal Foundation. Do you wish to fuse it? Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Undying Blood Vein. Do you wish to fuse it? Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Immortal Armor. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Immortal Vine Heart. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining 1 Immortal Crystal, 109 Fairy Stones. The system beep continued to ring. Black Dragon Ancestor didn't help much just now, so don't use the words of the Undying Blood Vein. Before Long Fei could finish speaking, a system notification sound came up. Ding! The Undying Blood Vein was devoured by the Dragon Salyer. Long Fei. Ding! The Immortal Armor has been broken down and consumed. The Immortal Crystals have been devoured. In a short moment, only a few items remained from Long Fei's explosion. Long Fei said bitterly, "I, your father, am going to explode for you all with a single berserk." The Yin Huang ancestor imitated Zheng Qingsong's words, "Harmony, harmony, what we want is harmony." Long Fei said, "Harmonize your sister, just let me do the same." Yin Huang ancestor chewed on the Immortal Armor and said, "This is not bad. The energy is huge and it suits my taste very well. Boy, I have already swallowed 1 Immortal Crystal. You are 1 step closer to becoming a Mountain Immortal Crystal. Don't worry, I will definitely train my ghost soldiers to the best of my abilities." Long Fei said, "Don't use that as an excuse. I really regret letting you train me. So many things have been eaten by the ancestor. It only got worse. There was no way for him to survive at all." Yin Huang ancestor laughed out loud and said, "Harmonious, harmonious. It's not like I'm going to eat your food for nothing." Huff! Long Fei let out a long sigh and muttered to himself, "Once I get on this ship, there's really no other way. If there's a way, I'll definitely get you out of my body." And then, Immortal Vine Heart? What's this? Long Fei checked the system, but there was no description at all. Yin Huang ancestor laughed excitedly. "This is an item for the Dragon Salyer to level up the Snowman King's Heart and the Undying Vine's Heart, adding the Snowman King's Blood Vein and the Immortal Blood Vein. The Dragon Salyer still lack 1 thing when it reaches the 4th level. With this, it can be raised to the 4th level, and at that time the strength of the Dragon Salyer will become even stronger." "Heh, brat, I can help you, right?" Long Fei disdainfully replied. "All right, you've won, okay." Then, Long Fei continued to look at the other item on the space ring. Immortal Foundation. Item, Immortal Foundation Grade. 3rd rank description. This Immortal Foundation possesses a strong immortal energy. It can convert one's energy into the immortal energy and can fuse with the power of any Immortal Foundation. Ding! Do you wish to fuse them? Long Fei did not hesitate and said, "Fusion." What he needed now was 3-rate fairy vein. Ding! Immortal foundation fusion successful. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for leveling up. Current level, level 1 Berserk Immortal. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for receiving the reward of the upgrade gift pack. Would you like to check it? In his mind, the gray and white gift box became colored and started to shine with a gold light. Long Fei clicked on it and thought, what's the reward? Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Big Day Tashigata. Do you wish to cultivate it? As soon as the system announcement rang out, Long Fei wiped it off stupidly. He was stunned and could not hear it clearly. What is it? After reading the system notification carefully, he was still in a daze. He felt so blessed that he could not react in time. Big sun, Big Day Tashigata. Oh my god, this is about to expand. Long Fei was really shocked. System, damn you. Do you have to be so nice to me? If you do that, I will swell. It's really killing me. And then, Long Fei was afraid that the system would make a mistake and take the Big Day Tashigata back. He immediately moved his idea and said, cultivate. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining 100 experience points for cultivating the Big Day Tashigata. The power of Celestial has 100 points, and the reward is a special 100 points. Skill Path, Big Day Tashigata Grade, Buddhist Description. The Buddhist Bible possesses unparalleled power. Description 2. The higher the level, the stronger the power. Description 3. This cultivation technique can bring you into the Buddha world once you train to the peak realm. The description of the 3 great achievements. In the last description, Long Fei was stunned again. Enter the Buddhist realm? The world of the Tathagata? Wakaka. Good stuff. Had never thought that he would be rewarded with such a great treasure. Thinking about the movies from his previous life and the scenes on TV, this Big Day Tashigata was simply invincible. At this moment, Wang Qingshan stood at the edge of the hole and shouted towards the hole, Long Fei. Hearing the voice, Long Fei quickly recovered and said, I'm fine. Wait outside for a while, I'll be right out. The matter of there being a huge seal was something that must not be known by outsiders. This was related to the secrets of the dragon domain. They absolutely could not let anyone know. Even the closest of brothers would be the same. And then, Long Fei calmed down from the happiness of the Big Day Tashigata and condensed a drop of blood essence from his finger. He said lightly, Come out. The blood essence dripped onto the seal. A terrifying halo of light exploded from the seal. Next, a halo of light radiated from the formation as it burst forth. The power within the formation began to struggle rapidly, and finally, a dragon's roar came from the void. Rumble, rumble, rumble. A huge dragon rushed out of the formation. The real undying ghost dragon let out an excited dragon's roar. It's been almost 6 million years, and I've finally come out. So stifling. At this moment, Ghost Dragon moved and landed in front of Long Fei. His eyes were full of respect, and he said respectfully, Greetings, boss. As expected, Long Fei was secretly shocked. You are also a member of the dragon race? Ghost Dragon was startled and said, Boss, you don't recognize me. Am I Ghost Dragon? Am I the messenger of the dragon race? It was you who brought me, the seal, here to await your return 6 million years ago. Long Fei thought in his heart. Did I put a seal here 6 million years ago? Long Fei changed the topic and said, My spiritual sense has not been fully awakened yet. There are a lot of things he wanted to ask, but the Azure Dragon ancestor would definitely stop him. Long Fei was too lazy to continue asking and said, Forget it. The Azure Dragon will explain everything to you. You should return as well. Long Fei gave the order. Ghost Dragon was shocked. Is Big Brother Qinglong here as well? Haha! Immediately, as soon as Ancestor Ghost Dragon entered Long Fei's body, he laughed bitterly. You can all play mahjong in my body now. At this moment, Yin Huang Ancestor suddenly said, That demon expert has arrived. What do you want your grandfather to do? What do you want your grandfather to do? Long Fei tensed up. Demon expert? Immediately. Long Fei thought about the sword technique and Wang Qingshan, who were standing outside the cave, and thought to himself, crap. Bam! Bam! Wang Qingshan and Dao Feng were blasted away in a single move. A middle-aged man dressed in bloody clothes, with scarlet pupils, stood in the air and coldly looked at Dao Feng and the others. Are you all going to fight with me as well? You don't even have the right to die by my hand. He looked deep into the cave and saw that there was no longer any signs of death in the entire immortal city. His heart tightened. Has undying ghost dragon already been killed? Killed by these two? The man sized up Wang Qingshan and his blade and said faintly, it's impossible for them to kill ghost dragon with their power. Dao Feng stood up with much difficulty and shouted, if we don't kill ghost dragon now, we will kill him. They could not let the demon experts discover Long Fei. Dao Feng said this to protect Long Fei. Wang Qingshan immediately said, you should leave this place quickly. Otherwise, don't blame us for being impolite. Humph! The demon expert snorted coldly and said, you think you can kill Ghost Dragon? Even the Blood Immortal Peak Realm experts will not be a match for the undying Ghost Dragon. As soon as his voice fell, Dao Feng and Wang Qingshan's hearts thumped for a moment as they inwardly trembled. Even peak stage Blood Immortal experts weren't a match. Then how did Long Fei not kill Ghost Dragon? They couldn't even injure Ghost Dragon. So Ghost Dragon's death must have been done by Long Fei. What exactly did he do? Just how strong was he? The shock they felt in their hearts was indescribable. However, Dao Feng was very tough and said, Ghost Dragon is dead, and we are here. It is not us who killed him, but you. Wang Qingshan also laughed. The immortal domain is much stronger than what you demons imagine. Killing a Ghost Dragon without dying is simply not a problem. The demon expert sneered and said, since that's the case, let's see how strong you are and what abilities you have to kill Ghost Dragon. As soon as he finished, the demonic shadow moved. Dao Feng's pupils tightened. Before he could react, the demon expert had already landed beside him. With a move of his blood palm, he blasted it outwards. Puffed. Fresh blood gushed out wildly, and the clothes on his back was torn apart by a burst of energy. His whole body was hanging from the hands of the demon powerhouses. The demon expert sneered. Is this the power you have to kill the undying Ghost Dragon? He can't even withstand a single blow. The sword in Wang Qingshan's hand moved, as fast as lightning. The corner of the demon expert's eyes turned cold as he disdainfully said, the speed at which you pull out the sword is not bad. You should be a disciple of the great sword master, Aoya, right? However, the sword moves are too weak. He's too weak. This kind of strength can't even kill a chicken. While speaking, his hand shot out like a snake, grabbing the long sword and twisting it fiercely. Crack! The long sword shattered. The demon expert sneered. I'll let you see my sword intent. Buzz! The broken sword flew up into the air. The powerful sword intent exploded outwards, penetrating Wang Qingshan's chest, which revealed a gigantic hole of blood. His entire body was sent flying by the powerful impact. The demon expert said with even more disdain, is this the power you use to kill the undying Ghost Dragon? So weak. With a single move, he was instantly defeated. Their battle strength was on a completely different level. There was no way to compare them. Dao Feng held on tightly. We were the ones who killed them. What about it? The demon expert looked coldly at Dao Feng and said slightly, I already said, you don't even have the qualifications to die at my hands, understand? Speak. Where did that expert go? There had to be experts. Moreover, he deduced that the rank of the expert was at least golden immortal rank, and that he might be severely injured. If he was able to kill a golden immortal ranker, then his trip would not have been in vain. Dao Feng now hoped that Long Fei would not come out and earn some time for him, and said, Haha, you found out that expert is going to come soon, and he's going to take your dog life. Want me to tell you where he is? Dream on. The demon expert's eyes turned sinister. Really? Dao Feng laughed. Even if I am beaten to death, I won't say anything. The eyes of the demon expert became exceptionally cold and said, there are truly people who aren't afraid of death in this world. God Emperor Academy seems to be truly not simple. However, today I want to see how unafraid you are of death. The demon expert's finger moved. His finger turned into a sword and instantly pierced into Dao Feng's chest. Fresh blood spurted out, and the demon expert laughed coldly, asking, is it painful? The wound wasn't just pain. There was still a powerful force rushing into his body. That feeling was too unbearable. Dao Feng's entire body was trembling. It was so painful that his entire body was covered in cold sweat, but he was still as arrogant as before. This is great. Can you let me feel a little better? Ha ha! Giggle. The demon powerhouse raised his brows. Let me see how long you can persevere for. Wang Qingshan shouted from afar. Long Fei, run. Ah! He charged forward once more. Since Long Fei could not kill Ghost Dragon, it showed that his strength was much stronger than his and Dao Feng's. Since Long Fei was much more useful than them, Long Fei should live on. At this moment, outside the city, Han Xueji saw the death aura disappear, and they rushed into the city. Seeing Dao Feng and Wang Qingshan both heavily injured, Han Xueji immediately shouted, attack together! Zheng Qingsong was the first to rush forward. The other disciples also rushed forward. However, Dao Feng shouted loudly, run, run, you're not his match. Han Xueji said desperately, I have never run away before. The corner of the demon powerhouse's mouth turned cold, and his aura surged out. A bunch of ants! How dare they be so impudent in front of me? Boom, boom, boom. His aura formed an imposing aura, and before Zheng Qingsong could get close, he was instantly crushed to the ground, unable to move. Han Xueji had a pair of gloves on her hands, and it clashed with the chi of a demon rancor for a few punches, but her cultivation was not even close to Dao Feng's. Adding the injuries on her body, she was barely able to hold on for half a second, and was also crushed to the ground. God Emperor Academy? Ha ha! Just like pigs and dogs. Do you think that trash like you can stop the rise of my demon race? Are you trying to get some demon slayer to snipe our devil ancestor? This is simply a joke. Ha ha! The demon powerhouses laughed out loud. Han Xueji looked at Dao Feng and asked, Senior brother, what exactly happened? Who is he? Where's Long Fei? Dao Feng's gaze tensed up, signaling for Han Xueji to stop asking questions. The demon expert laughed coldly and said, seems like one of you haven't appeared yet. Where is this person called Long Fei? He should be the one who killed Ghost Dragon, right? The chi of the demon expert moved, and after that he sneered, Long Fei, you bastard, come out right now. It was at this moment, an illusory figure shot out from the deep pit. A figure landed and solemnly said, why are you calling for your grandfather? You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.